gbogbo ohun tí ó bá jẹ́ ní ètò nígbà tásìkò yẹn bá tó. 31st of August 2024, Olayomi Koiki, spokesman for Dr. Chief Sunday Adeyemo, popularly known as Sunday Igboho. Mo fẹ́ sọ fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá tí wọ́n bá láǹfààní àti tún gbọ́ mi lénìí pé ní October, ìyẹn oṣù kẹwàá ọdún 2024 tí ó ń bọ̀ yìí, inú UK ni bàbá wa Olóyè Igboho ló máa ti darapọ̀ mọ́ gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá fún àwọn ayẹyẹ tí ó ń bọ̀ níwájú. Àwọn ìgbésẹ̀ tí a ti ń sọ fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pé bàbá wa Olóyè máa darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ní UK, ìyẹn ní London àti ní Manchester. Ìrìn àjò yẹn máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ níjọ́ Jímọ̀, ìyẹn Friday, ọjọ́ 11 oṣù October 2024, 11th of October 2024. Níbẹ̀ ni dínà máa ti wáyé ní aago 7 títí di aago 12 nígbà tí a máa celebrate birthday bàbá wa Olóyè Igboho. Fún gbogbo ẹni tí ó bá fẹ́ information lórí dínà yẹn, ẹ kàn sí èmi àti gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n ń ṣe ètò dínà náà. Tó bá wá di ìjọ rally, ìyẹn ní Saturday 12th of October 2024, dédé aago 10 níwájú Broadcasting House ní BBC, ìyẹn ní Central London, nearest tube station, Oxford Circus. Níbẹ̀ ni a ti máa ṣe ìwọ́de wọ́ọ́rọ́wọ́ láti fi ẹ̀dùn ọkàn wa wọ̀n fún gbogbo àgbáyé àti ìlú tí a mọ̀ sí United Kingdom. Níbẹ̀ ni bàbá wa Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho àti gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá tó ń gbé ní UK àti àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá tó ń bọ̀ ní gbogbo àgbáyé wá sí UK. Mo wá fẹ́ fi tó wa létí pé kò sí ibì kankan tí olóyè máa wà, ìyẹn nílùú Amẹ́ríkà ní inú oṣù October ju UK ni wọ́n máa wà. Bàbá wa Olóyè Igboho nígbàkigbà tó bá máa wá sí ìlú Amẹ́ríkà, gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pátá la máa kéde fún tí ẹ máa palẹ̀mọ́ fún wọn láti ṣe ìpàdé wọn àti láti ṣe gbogbo ohun tí ó bá jẹ́ ní ètò nígbà tásìkò yẹn bá tó. Mo wá fi ń tó wa létí pé gbogbo ìntẹ́ bá ń gbọ́ níta tí kò bá ti jáde láti ẹnu tèmi Ọláyọmí Kóìkì tí mo jẹ́ agbẹnusọ fún olóyè, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ kí ìyẹn kó da omi tútù sí yín lọ́kàn. Olóyè Igboho fún rẹ̀ nígbà tásìkò bá tó, wọ́n máa ṣe fọ́nrán síta láti jẹ́ kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá mọ̀ pé kó pàdé òun, ìyẹn nílùú London, níbi tí ayẹyẹ máa ti jáde lágbára Elédùmarè, ìyẹn ní 12th Saturday October 2024. Orúkọ mi ni Ọláyọmí Kóìkì. This message goes to all the sons and daughters of Yorubas around the world that Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho will be coming to United Kingdom on the 11th and the 12th and also the 13th for activities that has been arranged, and that activities goes like this. On the Friday, the 11th of October 2024, a special dinner will be held for him to celebrate his beautiful birthday. And on Saturday, he will be leading us in a massive, peaceful 1 million rally that will be taking place here in London from the BBC Broadcasting House. Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho would also be making a visit to Manchester. Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho will not be in America in October, but at the appropriate time, we would communicate when and days of his visitation to the United States of America. So for any information, please always consult myself, his spokesman Olayomi Koiki, for any information or details about Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho. Once again, 31st of August 2024, Chief Igboho will be in London, and we hope to see every single one of you joining us during the dinner and likewise for the rally and those visitation to Manchester. Thank you so much. Please share to the others and make sure it goes to the mainstream, the social media as well. Olayomi Koiki, spokesman for Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho.
lọ́jọ́ kan náà sọ̀rọ̀ wá sẹ́fẹ́ gbọ́. tó sọjọ́ bí ọba ládìkú olóyè Sunday Ìjàsọ́lá àdìsá ọmọdéyẹmọ aka Ìgbòho ṣá nípa bí gbogbo àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ ìfẹ́ lọ́dọ̀ àpapọ̀ Yorùbá lágbàáyé lábẹ́ ààrẹ wa ọba Adébáyọ̀ Fáládé jákèjì ààrẹ mọ́tẹ́lẹ́dẹ́ àdàbí tó ṣíṣe ìrọ́kẹ̀kẹ̀ ìgbáradì bàbá pẹ̀lú ìfẹ́ àti ẹ̀mí ìforí àgbàkalẹ̀ ayẹyẹ ọjọ́ Ìgbòho fọdún yìí pẹ̀lú àkọlé dídáwò Ìgbòho bákan náà làwọn ọmọ ọba ọ̀pọ̀ ní àgbáyé lálejò Tajudeen Ọlọ́rẹ̀wájú Àjàlá àti bàbá Adésọjí. London Kensington 179 to 199 Holland Park Avenue London W114UL United Kingdom bẹ̀rẹ̀ látago méje ìrọ̀lẹ́ ẹlẹ́lẹ́dago méjìlá òru. Bákan náà láti ń kí wa kú ìmúrasílẹ̀ ìwọ́de làmìlaka tẹgbẹ̀lẹ́gbẹ̀ ènìyàn tí ó wáyé nílùú ọba 1 million rally in London lọ́jọ́ kejìlá oṣù kẹwàá ó jẹ́ ọjọ́ kejìdínlá pẹ̀lú Ìgbòho léyìí tó Láyọ̀mí Kóìkì àti bàbá wa Gbẹ̀du ọmọ ṣàkóso ẹ̀ lọ́ọ̀kan ọ̀jọ̀kan àwọn àlàkalẹ̀ ìrọ̀rùn. Bàbá ṣe máa fi ọkọ̀ àjàgbé ńlá ni London route bus gbé àwọn àgbààgbà àti àwọn abarapá gbogbo láti BBC in Oxford Street títí tí ìwọ́de ó fi parí sí Paris Trafalgar Square tó bá wá di ọjọ́ kẹtàlá ọjọ́ kẹtàdínlá pẹ̀lú Ìgbòho. láwọn máa ṣàbẹ̀wò lọ sí ìlú Manchester gan fún ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ àlàyé síwájú sí i tàbí láti dá sí ètò ìfọlọ́ntírìlì ẹ lè pè tàbí kẹ́ WhatsApp Ọláyọmí Kóìkì lórí +447 594 050 979 Kéde Ìjàdùbí lórí +447 570 320 030 Ṣọlá kò gbọdọ̀ kú lórí +353 863 375 537. Bákan náà ní ẹ lè kàn sí Tóyìn Ọláoyè lórí +447 896 018 764. Lápapọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá àgbáyé pátápátá YSDN pẹ̀lú Yorùbá World Media Home and Diaspora àti gbogbo ìkànnì mìíràn tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ sókè fún ìjàǹgbara ọmọ Yorùbá. Ní àwọn ẹgbẹ́ ìfẹ́lọ́dọ̀ àpapọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá ṣe ń kí ọmọ aládìkú wípé ẹ kú ọdún ẹ kú ìyèdún a sì ń ṣàmọ́dún sẹ̀mí ìtayà tọmọ. Yorùbá World Media ló kéde lórúkọ gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pátápátá.
Gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọmọ ọ̀dọ́ tá a jọ ń káàkiri ọ̀dọ́jọ́ ni wá ẹ má jẹ́ kí a fi àyè gba Fúlàní lórí ilẹ̀ àwọn bàbá wa ẹ má jẹ́ ká bú ọba mọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ ká bújòyè mọ́ nígbà tá a la fẹ́ jà fún àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ wa táwa ń kọ́kọ́ ń bú ọba tá à ń bújòyè èmi náà ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ rí bọ́mọ pẹ́rẹ́ mi padà ẹ má jẹ́ ká bú àgbààgbà kankan mọ́ ẹ má bolóṣèlú kankan ẹ̀rù kálukú ń bẹ̀rù wọn ò lè sọ̀rọ̀ ọba ò lè sọ ìjòyè lè sọ ẹ jẹ́ ká ronú ẹ má jẹ́ ká bá àwọn bàbá àjà mọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ á bú wọn mọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ á ṣe wọn ra wọn ara pẹ̀lú wọn àwọn àgbà tó bá jó lóṣèlú tá a bá fẹ́ kọ́ wọn rẹ̀ wá lọ́wọ́ á gbé wọn mọ́ra á gbé wọn mọ́ra ni à ní bú wọn mọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ á ṣèjẹ̀gbọ́n ẹ má jẹ́ á dàlúrú a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì ṣèjẹ̀gbọ́n a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì yìnbọn a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì dàlúrú gbogbo protest mo ṣe ní ìlú Nàìjíríà mi ò rí ibi tí mo ti ẹnìkan lè sọ pé mo pààyàn tàbí mo jó nǹkan náà tàbí mo bà nǹkan jẹ́ mo lọ písù torí pé olówó lèmi náà tí ọba sọlówó lára ń dì mọ́ gbogbo nǹkan tọ́lọ́run fún yẹn lọ́lọ́run fún mi mi ṣe tálákà tó dé pé mo dìde fún jà Yorùbá big man ni mi àwọn tó jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi tó súnmọ́ mi tó ní owó ní kí ni mo wá lọ bẹ̀ pé sọ́wọ́ lè mi mò ń fẹ́ ni kí n sọ yìí tí mo fẹ́ mo ní ìsọ̀rọ̀ owó àní ọ̀rọ̀ ìran mi ni mò ń sọ kí n wọ gbowó kí n gbéra kí n pé mò ń lọ ọ̀dọ̀ ọba gbowó mò ń lọ ọ̀dọ̀ oníbodè òfin gbowó kí n kójó wọlé kọ́kàn mi balẹ̀ kí n dá wa mọ́tò kí n mọ́ rìn bọ̀ kí Fúlàní mọ́ dá mi dúró títì kí n délé kí bàbá sọ pé kí n gbé tírélà sùn kí n mọ́ gbé lọ àwọn bàbá wo lè lóko mọ́ wọn ò lè lóńdò ẹ jẹ́ ká fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ ká ti àwọn bàbá wa lẹ́yìn ká dá security ti wa lẹ̀ ká sọ fún wọn kí wọ́n bá wa fọwọ́ tì í ká lé wọn kó nu oko wa ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́ Jésù Olúwa.
Koiki Media, we're bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
Koiki Media, Koiki Media, Koiki Media, we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
Koiki Media, Koiki Media, Koiki Media, we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
Àwọn sálára àgbà yìí dá, àwa ló láṣà àti èdè. Gbígbédè lárugẹ nílẹ̀ Oòduà o, àwa gangan ni bàbá.
Koiki Media.
sabi wetin we carry for her.
But they move closer before them to sabi.
I said they never know wetin we carry for body.
But they move closer before them to sabi.
Ọ̀kín lọ lọ́jà ẹyẹ ìníhùn ló ló lajú.
Ẹyẹ tó lórí kodò bí àdán ọ̀pẹ̀jẹ̀ lẹ́nu.
Ká ṣiṣẹ́ fún ilẹ̀ bàbá wa, ká ṣiṣẹ́ fún ìlú bàbá wa, ká jùmọ̀ sowọ́pọ̀ ká lè kó Odùduwà.
Odùduwà kò bá lè gbé wá.
Ọmọ Odùduwà ṣe gírí, ẹ dìde fún ẹ̀tọ́ adúláwọ̀, ká lè jọ jùmọ̀ gbé délẹ̀ ìlérí, ká wálé gba ògo ilẹ̀ wa, ká ṣiṣẹ́ ká lè jọ gbàdé, ká lè gbàdé adé adúláwọ̀, àwa ni mọ̀lẹ̀ tí yóò tàn káàkiri.
Ọmọ Odùduwà ni wá.
Koiki Media àwa là ń gbé tó lárugẹ.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó Tiwa Money.
Kásá ẹgbẹ́ polówó ọjà wá kájé gbúgbà yín jẹ.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó Tiwa Money.
À ń gbé tó lárugẹ, à ń gbàsà lárugẹ.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó Tiwa Money.
News and sports ẹ máa rí gbọ́.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó Tiwa Money.
Ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú alárẹ̀ mi ló ní kí n máa ké tantan. Koiki Media ọ̀rọ̀ lágbájúmọ̀ mi o, máa bá ṣẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ o. Ọmọ Yorùbá nìyẹn, ọmọ Yorùbá tata o. À ń gbádùn rẹ ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú alárẹ̀ mi, ṣẹ́yìn ló máa fi dìbò tẹ̀ mọ́lẹ̀ o. Ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ onígbò máa ń dé máa dé máa dé, ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ onígbò máa wọ̀ máa wọ̀ máa wọ̀ o. Igbó máa wọ̀ tó àjòjì ò gbọ́dọ̀ wọ̀, àjòjì tó bá wọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ á dẹ̀dẹ̀ ní ẹbọra. Ẹ̀yin lọ máa náwó kóyìnbó tó dé, ìgbà tó yìnbó dé o, owó náà dẹ́ tún pọ̀ sí o. Koiki Media ṣàwa ní bàbá. Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Àdáńtọ́ àtúnpèrègèdè.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Àwa là ń gbé tò lárugẹ jẹ́ ká jọ gbọ́ o.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Àtúnjàfẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ wa, fẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Ọmọ Oòduà ni wá o, tọkàntọkàn.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Ikú tí ó ṣe bí lébi òsì, àdìmú bàbá iyọ̀.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
We bring you up closer to your doorstep.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Afẹ́fẹ́ tó ń fẹ́ o tó ń kan gígo lára ni.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Àpèrègèdè Olódùmarè ló fún wa ṣe.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Gbogbo ayé ẹ gbọ́, àwa ní bàbá o.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Ẹ máa bọ̀ wá ẹgbẹ́ polówó ọjà yín wá o.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Odùduwà lágbédá ní òtítọ́ lágbédá ní.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
A kì í sọ̀dálẹ̀, a kì í sọdí kẹta.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Àdúró tán, a tún pèrègèdè.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Koiki Media we bring you up closer to your doorstep.
Àwọn ní bàbá.
Koiki Media is around.
To give us latest.
Is around o.
Give us latest.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Ẹ mú kalẹ̀ sílẹ̀, ẹ tẹ́tí ẹ gbọ́ ètò tó pọ̀jù owó.
ladies and gentlemen,
Ẹ mú kalẹ̀ sílẹ̀, ẹ tẹ́tí ẹ gbọ́ ètò tó pọ̀jù owó.
Koiki Media is around.
To give
Kashi
Moki Bubua, this is a live now. The previous discussion was a recorded. I can confirm Oloye will not be in America in October. I remain the spokesman. Any arrangement with Dr. Oloye to travel around the world, he would consult, he would discuss, he would then call and give me the authorization to speak on his behalf. As I speak right now, I, Olayomi Koiki, 31st August 2024, at exactly 7 minutes past 1700 hours, I am now speaking on behalf of Oloye Igboho. Oloye Igboho would not be in America in October for any event. When the appropriate time comes, Oloye will discuss, he will consult, he will then tell me, and I will be communicating that back. If you have seen any information out in the public domain about Oloye coming to America in October, he would only be in the United Kingdom, England, London, for the dinner and likewise the rally that will be held on his behalf. This rally and the event is put together on his behalf through the Ifelodun Apapo and Akintoye and the Yoruba world media, including the YSDM, under the leadership of Professor ADEBANJI Akintoye. Ní àsìkò tí mò ń sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí, mò ń gbẹnu Olóyè sọ̀rọ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí agbẹnusọ wọn. Kò sí detailed planning itinerary kankan pé Olóyè ọmọ Adéyẹmọ Ìgbòho Òòṣà ló máa wà nílùú Amẹ́ríkà ìyẹn ní October. Gbogbo ntẹ bá gbọ́, gbogbo ntẹ bá rí, tí èmi Ọláyọmí Kóìkí ò bá confirm ẹ̀, Olóyè tí sọ pé bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ṣe rí. Àmọ́ lágbára Elédùmarè, Olóyè jẹ́ kí n mọ̀ pé òun máa dé Amẹ́ríkà láìpẹ́ láì jìnnà nígbà tí gbogbo ètò mi bá ti ṣẹlẹ̀ tí a máa ṣe announcement yẹn officially. Lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí gbogbo tí mo sọ títí di wákàtí ẹnu Olóyè ni mo fi ń sọ̀rọ̀. Now I've come out of that and I'm now into my own full program. Mo kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pé ẹ tún káàbọ̀ sórí ìkànnì wa, ìkànnì aláyọ̀. Ìkànnì tí a ti ń dára nípa ọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá nation torí àrà la máa dá, la máa fi débẹ̀. Ìgbà míì máa wà, a máa jó. Ìgbà míì máa wà, a máa ṣàdúrà. Ìgbà míì máa wà, a máa serious. Ìgbà míì máa wà, a máa ṣépè. Nítorí pé ìtagbédání kò kìí ṣeré rárá. Mo kí gbogbo èèyàn ọmọ Oòduà, àwa ọmọ ìran aládé tí kò jẹ́ ká wà níbi tá wà, àmọ́ fúndì kan àbí ìdí kejì a ti wà níbẹ̀. Ọ̀nà wo la máa wá gbà tá máa fi kúrò níbẹ̀? Òun náà ni gbogbo ètò tá ń tò látẹ̀ bàbá wa Professor Adébánjí Akintoye. Bàbá, k'Ọlọ́run jẹ́ a rí yín pẹ́. Nítorí pé bàbá ti mọ bí ó ṣe máa lọ ló ṣe tètè pè wá ṣàkíyèsí pé ká má bàa ṣìnà, torí pé tá bá pẹ̀lẹ́ tá tètè kúrò ní Nàìjíríà a máa ṣìnà tó pọ̀. Ẹ̀yin Yorùbá náà dẹ̀ lẹ sọ pé bíyàn bá ń lọ bì kan tó ò bá mọbi tó ń lọ, o ní right láti padà sẹ́yìn. Gbogbo wa nísìn tí a sì ń sọ pé a mọbi tá ń lọ, ẹ jẹ́ ká padà sẹ́yìn nítorí pé Nàìjíríà kò lè gbé wa débì kankan mọ́. Torí pé Lugard àti àwọn ẹmẹ̀wà ẹ̀ tí wọ́n pè ní Britain ni wọ́n kó wa sínú wàhálà. Mo wá kí bàbá wa látòrí wọn, mo kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pé ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ìkànnì náà tí wọ́n pè ní Koiki Media. Bàbá wa ń sọ̀rọ̀ lọ, a kí bàbá wa Ọ̀túnba Adémọ́lá tí wọ́n jẹ́ igbákejì bàbá ìyẹn nínú àwọn ètò kan tá ń pè ní YSDM. Ìparí oṣù ti dé, èèyàn mélòó ló ti sanwó oṣù tiẹ̀? Torí pé gbogbo wa náà láti gba owó oṣù fáwa tí wọ́n ń sanwó fún. Àbáwa tí a mọ̀ pé nígbà tá ti ṣe májẹ̀mú pé a máa dá sínú YSDM gẹ́gẹ́ bí mẹ́wàá Ọ̀rànmíyàn tí bàbá wa Professor Adébánjí Akintoye, the leader of the Yoruba Nation movement, tó kéde fún wa. Èní ni oṣù parí, èmi náà ti san tèmi, àmọ́ màá gbìyànjú kílẹ̀ tó ṣú, màá san pọ́n mẹ́wàá tèmi. Ìlúkìlú tó bá wà, mẹ́wàá ló pé, 10 Canadian dollar, 10 US dollars, 10 Australian dollars, 10 New Zealand dollars, 10 euro, 10, 10, 10 títí dé gbogbo Áfíríkà. Kódà àwọn ti ilé àti ní bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ti san 120 tí ẹ̀yin ti san tọ̀dọ̀ tí yín fọdún kan, Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kí ọdún yìí kó ṣojú adélẹ̀ kí a má bá ogun lọ.
gbogbo ohun tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ nínú ilé tó ń dàbí pé báwo ló ṣe rí a máa kúrò nínú ẹ̀. kí n tí mo fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí mo bẹ̀ yín ẹ má sọ pé kí n sọ Yorùbá. I will speak enough English to disseminate this information. Mo fẹ́ gbé yín rìnrìn àjò. Mo fẹ́ gbé yín lọ sí ogun kan tó ti ṣẹlẹ̀ rí àmọ́ ó já sí rere náà ni. Mo fẹ́ gbé yín wọnú ibi tó ń pè ní Ethiopia àti Eritrea. Kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀? Àti pé kí ló fà á? Kí ló fa ogun níbẹ̀? Àti pé ọ̀nà àbáyọ wo ló wá ṣẹlẹ̀ tí Ọlọ́run Elédùmarè fi kẹ́ wọn tí wọ́n fi gba independence wọn through referendum. Mo wá fẹ́ compare bàbá yìí, ìyẹn prime minister wọn tí a mọ̀ sí ìyẹn olórí wọn lọ́hùn-ún tí orúkọ rẹ̀ á máa jẹ́ Abiy, ìyẹn Ethiopia prime minister. Ethiopia prime minister yìí òun ni a lè sọ pé wọ́n fún ní igbá tí a mọ̀ sí Abiy Ahmed ọmọ 1976. Ṣé Tinubu máa fi àgbà wọ́n pé èmi náà lè ṣe tó ṣe yìí tí o fi tú Eritrea sílẹ̀ wọ́n máa bá tiwọn lọ lẹ́yìn tí wọ́n ti para wọn tí ogun ti ṣẹlẹ̀ rẹpẹtẹ. Lóòótọ́ Tinubu ò tí ì dá ogun sílẹ̀ àmọ́ ó ti witness ogun, ìyẹn ogun Biafra. Ṣé ó tún máa ṣẹlẹ̀ pé Tinubu á pa ogun wọnú Nàìjíríà tá a máa fi pín ni àbí á lo làákàyè á lo ohun tí Elédùmarè gbélé òun náà lọ́wọ́ á ṣe gẹ́gẹ́ bí prime minister Ethiopia ṣe tó tú àwọn Eritrea sílẹ̀? Ẹ rí nǹkan gbọ́ lẹ́nìí, ẹ farabalẹ̀ mo ti mú wá fún yín torí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ tán ní a máa jagun àní jagun. Kódà Eritrea sọ fún wọn pé àwọn máa para wọn ni. Lóòótọ́ ẹ̀mí bọ́lẹ̀ gan àmọ́ ayọ̀ ló padà bọ́ sí látara arákùnrin tẹ́ ń rí wọ́n fún ní Nobel Award irú ìtọ́ fún bàbá wa Professor Wọlé Ṣóyínká. Gbogbo ẹ̀ náà la máa sọ lórí ètò. Mo bẹ̀ yín ẹ farabalẹ̀ kájọ rìnrìn àjò yẹn. Àmọ́ jẹ́ n kọ́kọ́ padà sínú ilé lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí i torí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ awuyewuye pé ọ̀nà àbáyọ wo ló máa fi jáde. Ṣé Yorùbá máa kúrò àbá ní kúrò? Mo kí bàbá wa ìyẹn ẹni tí Ọlọ́run fi kẹ́ wa ní sáà yìí. Òun ni ànábì tiwa, òun ni Jésù tiwa. The gods continue to be with him. Kódà òun ló pè mí tèmi ò bá pè é a ní coordinator mo gbúròó yín ṣàlàáfíà lẹ́wà. Mo ní àlàáfíà ni mo wà bá mi. Kọ́lọ́run Elédùmarè kó bá wa dúró ti olóyè àtàwọn mọ̀lẹ́bí ẹ̀. Àwa ń bẹ Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu ẹ má wo gbogbo ohun tí àwa ń ṣe. Ẹ bá wa fi àkáǹtì olóyè sílẹ̀ kí olóyè lè láṣẹ̀sì sí àkáǹtì ẹ̀ nítorí pé kí ni àkáǹtì yẹn àwọn owó tó wà níbẹ̀, owó tó fi ń tọ́jú ẹbí, tó fi ń tọ́jú mẹ̀lẹ́bí, tó fi ń tún gbogbo ohun tó yẹ kó ṣe gẹ́gẹ́ bí baálé ilé. Ẹ ti gbẹ́sẹ̀ lé owó náà. Lóòótọ́ ẹ̀yin kọ́ lẹ wà níjọba ẹ̀yin lẹ ń ṣèjọba nísìnyí. Bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ṣe wá rántí account òkú méjì ṣì ń bẹ lọ́wọ́ federal government President Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu. Ẹ bá wa gbé yẹ̀wò níbo ló fi òkú yìí sí. Tó ti sin wọ́n ni àbọ̀ ẹ̀ tí ì sin wọ́n? Tó bá ti sin wọ́n ká mọ̀ ká lè lọ wú òkú ká lè fún wọn ní proper burial right. Mo wá ń bẹ̀ yín ẹ dákun ẹ sọ fún the new DSS DG gbogbo ibi tí òkú yìí bá wà kó sọ ibi tó wà fún wa ká rán àwọn èèyàn lọ kó lọ bá wa gbé àwọn òkú yìí kó gbé wọn padà wálé torí ìyàwó ń bẹ àwọn ọmọ ń bẹ wọ́n fẹ́ mọ ibi tí orí bàbá wọn máa wà nítorí pé kí ni ọmọ Yorùbá tí èèyàn bá kú àmọ́ the importance of the final burial right. Mo wá lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ mú kí gbogbo àwọn orí adé tó ń bẹ ní gbogbo ilẹ̀ Yorùbá títí dé Benin Republic àti Togo nítorí pé kí ni àwọn òyìnbó náà ló dá ìrìn àjò yẹn rú nítorí pé tí wọ́n nìkan ni wọ́n rò tí àwa ọmọ Yorùbá tí a ti jọ ń ṣe pẹ̀lú àwọn Togo, Ghana, Sierra Leone. Ìdí tá ṣe ń sọ pé tí a bá kúrò nínú Nàìjíríà à lè tó padà kódà bí Benin ọba ìtẹ́ ti padà sọ́dọ̀ wa à mọ àwọn ìgbésẹ̀ tó yẹ ká gbé tí wọ́n fi máa jẹ́ ìbá part of the Yoruba land. Àwa ń sọ fún gbogbo èèyàn ọmọ Yorùbá tẹ́ ń bẹ ní gbogbo ibi tí ẹ wà yẹn pé ó kù díẹ̀ náà ni tó bá yá àwọn òyìnbó tó dá gbogbo ẹ̀rú wọ́n ṣe for their own selfish interest, nothing more than that. Èmi dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé láìpẹ́ láì jìnnà àárí àṣeyọrí. Ẹ já ohun táwọn ọba Benin Republic tó fi bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ ní August 2021 according to the BBC tó ní fọ́nrán yìí ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ gbọ́ mọ́ bọ̀.
àwọn náà pín wa yẹ́ẹ̀yẹ́.
On n'a pas trois rois. Nous avons une seule roi. Un seul roi.
Donc ìlú ti wà lẹ̀ kó tó di pé wọ́n wá sí mi báyìí. Ìlú Àjàṣẹ́, ìlú Yorùbá ni, ìlú Oòduà ni. Àwọn abónílẹ̀ dùlẹ̀, àwọn náà pín wa yẹ́ẹ̀yẹ́. Nítorí Yorùbá ló tẹ̀dó ìlú yìí báyìí. Nígbà tí Zozerigbe tóun wá tó wá tọrọ ààyè kóun àti àwọn èèyàn tóun kó máa gbé bẹ̀. Ó dù tó sì wà lérí ìlú Àjàṣẹ́. Ìlú náà ò kọ èèyàn kan nítorí ìlú abiyamọ ni tó bímọ ẹ̀sán. Ìṣákọ́lẹ̀ yìí báyìí ló fa wàhálà. Ẹni tí a gbà ó ní wọn ò san ṣákọ́lẹ̀ mọ́.
Des choses sont passées. La guerre, sinon la rencontre guerrière qui avait eu à Porto Novo et ici à Ogbonu avait fait que des noms, puisque le premier nom était Ogbonu.
Ogbonu, c'était Agbanle qui a donné le nom Ogbonu. Parce qu'entre-temps, à son arrivée, et lorsqu'il a créé son palais, il y avait une case. Nous sommes venus de Adjatado. Donc, c'est de là qu'on a dit Adjatchedie. Adjatchedie. En Yoruba, Adjatemelelei.
La guerre entre Nango et Egon était terminée. Lui, il dit que ici, c'est son Adja. Adja Tché. Il avait ramené tout ce qu'il avait interpellé, tout ce qu'il avait invité pour faire la guerre. Il les avait conduits plus à l'est, beaucoup plus à l'est. Et arrivé là-bas, il les fait asseoir et leur trouva un chef. Ici, il dit que c'est la branche de son Adja.
Abesan lobi Àjàṣẹ́, Àjà, Àṣẹ́gun, Ọ̀tá, Ibi, Òdìlé. Ogbonu ní ká ní pé ilẹ̀ tí a fún wọn, ilẹ̀ tí a fún wọn ní pé kó máa gbé. Àti pèsè ilẹ̀ yẹn kalẹ̀ fún àwọn àlejò ní tẹ́lẹ̀ rí.
Pourquoi Ogbonu? Parce que ça, le premier ancêtre qui était arrivé avait construit une case énorme que les gens ont appelé Bo. Bo, c'est grand. Ho, c'est la case.
Àwọn Portugais kan ló wá sílẹ̀ yìí. Ló ní àwọn Portuguese ló sọ pé ìlú ìbàyí ó jọ̀lú wọn, ó jọ̀lú òun. Wọ́n sì máa ń pe ìlú ẹ̀ ní Porto. Ó wá ní ìlú ìbàyí New Porto ni. Porto Nouveau.
Mais la coalition pacifique, nous avons, il n'y a jamais eu de guerre entre des porte-noviers. À part la guerre que Tiagmani a créée, quand il pouvait s'installer, il a dû tuer les gens, les Yoruba, les Nango là. Ça c'était ça. Après ça là, on est toujours resté ensemble. Notre style d'habitat nous permet de, vous allez voir dans Porto Novo, on vit ensemble en communauté. Donc là, il y a une grande cour, il y aura ici, le bout ici, tout ça, ça fait que on est toujours ensemble. Il n'y a pas de famille, où il n'y a pas de Yoruba.
That is just láti sọ fáwọn ọmọ Yorùbá pé iṣẹ́ wà fún wa lọ́jọ́ iwájú láti ṣe ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ amendment ní táwọn ìbò dá sílẹ̀ òǹlọ́lọ́lọ́kan ẹ̀. Mo kí gbogbo orí adé nílẹ̀ Yorùbá àti ní gbogbo ibi tí wọ́n ti ń ṣe orí adé fọ́mọ Yorùbá ní Amẹ́ríkà ni, ní Europe ni, ní Cuba, ní South Polo ní gbogbo ibi tó bá wà ni mò ń kí wọn pé èmi ọmọ yín náà ni o Ọláyọmí Kóìkì tí gbogbo èèyàn mọ̀ sí Kóìkì Media mo kí wa o. Now ẹ jẹ́ ká máa wọnú ètò lọ díẹ̀díẹ̀. Mo fẹ́ wo ibi tá a ti fẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ torí ọ̀rọ̀ wà. There's a lot to discuss this evening. How did we get here? We know that already. How do we come out is the question that people are asking. Since that Mobashi Debiba, how do we come out? Is it through the war? Is it through dialogue? Is there going to be peace? But it has been done before, and it can be repeated again if only those that are leading Nigeria right now will be ready to do the needful. So we're going to take you through the first two countries that we want to talk about so that you can have a background understanding nípa àwọn ìlú yẹn. Torí pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ lè máa mọ̀ wọ́n tẹ́lẹ̀, ẹlòmíì dẹ̀ ti lè mọ̀ wọ́n rí, but learning it again is not too much. Eritrea and Ethiopia, two countries, fought a terrible war for a very long time. But the two of them have now become an independent country, side by side, neighboring countries, each running its own government, each both under the United Nations membership. But kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀? How did that occur? Ìgbésẹ̀ wo ló gbé? Kí ni àwọn ìgbésẹ̀ tó gbé that allowed Ethiopia to say, okay, maybe it is time we let go? Can Tinubu do the same thing? Is the question that many people are not sure about. But I say time will tell. President Tinubu is 1 year plus precisely in the office as he's trying to stabilize the economy of Nigeria. He must also remember that there are now people that wants to leave Nigeria. Is he going to plead for them to remain in Nigeria? And if they refuse to remain in Nigeria while he is still the president, what is he going to do? Kí ni Tinubu máa ṣe? Already, the leader of the Yoruba self-determination, Professor ADEBANJI Akintoye, the Grand Commander of the Yoruba nation, drafted a letter, sent it to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the hope that he would dialogue and engage the Yorubas that wants to go out of Nigeria through the amalgamation and then want a de-amalgamation. I can confirm that Tinubu did not reply that letter. Neither did he even talk about it with his spokesman and the media aide. But it is good for documentation that we communicated with Tinubu and we can still continue to negotiate and dialogue. But what if Tinubu does not do exactly what we want? That question is millions dollars that people are asking. Tí Tinubu ò bá ṣe ń tẹ́ fẹ́ yìí, kí lẹ́yìn máa ṣe? And I hope that Tinubu will go back into the history and see how these very small, with a very small number of about probably $123 million, maybe Asiwaju we go in the line of what the Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy has done by giving the room for peace. Because the only thing that can bring unity is when there is peace. But as we speak right now, everybody's looking for peace in a well-divided country. So this evening, I'm going to take us through what transpired between Ethiopia and Eritrea. According to the World Bank of 2022, the population of Ethiopia stands at 123.4 million, with the current Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. The official capital remains Addis Ababa. Ethiopia, in the Horn of Africa, is a rugged landlocked country that was split by the Great Rift Valley, with the archaeological find dating back more than 3 million years. It is a place of ancient culture. Among its important sites are Libya, with its rock-cut Christian churches from the 12th to the 13th century. Akusum is ruins of an ancient city with obelisk, tombs, castle, and Our Lady Mary of Zion Church. Ìlú tó ní ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ history in Ethiopia. We will see how far we can dive into it. Now, let's come to another country called Eritrea. Again, these two are both in East Africa. Eritrea is a Northeast African country on the Red Sea coast. It shares borders with Ethiopia, Sudan, and Djibouti. The capital city is Asmara, is known for its Italian colonial building, just like the British colonized Nigeria. Italians did the same to the people of Eritrea. Egyptian and Turkish architects in the Masawi reflect the port city. Colorful history, just like the Yorubas, and notable buildings here include the St. Marian Cathedral and the Imperial Palace. As we speak, according to the World Bank, the total population stands at 3.6 million. The GDP, $2.6 billion US. But what we want to learn about these two countries is what led to the war and how were they able to pull out. Kí làwọn ìgbésẹ̀ tó ṣẹlẹ̀ àti pé kí làwọn ọ̀nà àbáyọ tó fi di pé ìlú méjèèjì lábẹ́ òfin tèmí were both recognized. Ǹjẹ́ Tinubu lè gbé ìgbésẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀? Nítorí pé tá bá lọ wo ọjọ́ orí Tinubu ó dàgbà ju the current Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, ìyẹn ti Prime Minister Ethiopia. Ṣé Tinubu náà máa lo làákàyè? Á gbé ọ̀rọ̀ Nàìjíríà, á gbé kalẹ̀ tó máa fi fún ní the Peace Noble. I don't know, time will tell. My job here is to take you through an history that has played out before and it might repeat itself in Nigeria if care is not taken. And that is exactly what we are about to witness in this discussion tonight. Share the program. I will not be mentioning names because I want to crack on as quickly as possible because there's a lot of areas to cover. And I know our 3 hours will be running very, very fast. So what we're going to first show us is what we call Ethiopia and Eritrea in a bitter blood that was filled with dispute. I'm going to play videos that might not come onto my program for those that will not be watching it live, because these are not my videos. They are just for educational purpose alone. The first video that I'm going to be bringing to our screen in the next few minutes says the lost marriage. Ìgbéyàwó tó ti sọnù. Many of us can sọ pé Nigeria ò ṣiṣẹ́, while some say we can still work around to fix Nigeria. Time will tell with all these. But my job is to remind you that we will not be the first country in the history to be going through what we are going through, and we will not be the first country that people are pulling out. It has been done before, and it can be done again. So what I'm about to play now, like I said, is a bitter, blood-filled dispute. This video was projected about 3 years ago. I have watched all the videos I'm going to be playing, but I'll be watching it again with you. Like I said, the tendency that they will keep this video after this broadcast, I don't know. Hey, Baba on video Ipadi, you will probably just have to go to maybe the Facebook where the video might still be showing depending on where you're watching my program from. Let's go into it.
Sides of the disputed border between Ethiopia and Eritrea. After the fragile ceasefire was dented in October with a fresh outbreak of fighting, the long-term future of the region has been plunged into chaos. And now, in a new twist, Eritrea has accused Ethiopia of the forced deportations of its nationals.
When we were friends, I was not of the opinion that he was capable of invading us. I was not of the opinion that he was capable of stabbing us in the back. A lot of water has flown under the bridge since then, and that requires a review of attitudes and approaches of the past.
But both sides still blame each other for starting the war. Amidst the overgrown trenches lie the remains of soldiers, a testimony to the vicious battles that took place in the Badme region in February 1999, when tens of thousands of young recruits lost their lives. Ethiopia eventually retook the strategically important border village of Badme that Eritrea had occupied since May 1998. Now, the village is deserted, apart from a few guarding soldiers. An Ethiopian commander, who didn't want to reveal his name, is unrepentant about what happened here. One should expect casualties during battle, that's a fact. And remember, I didn't give you any figures, but whatever sacrifices, we the Ethiopians are determined to get our land back. That's the bottom line. Our land will be liberated, whatever the cost.
I want you to be picking on the words. Regardless of the cost, regardless of the damage, regardless of their land must be taken back. But what some of you want is you just want a country out of a country that is not ready to negotiate with you. How long are we going to continue? If Tinubu will negotiate with Oluwole, are we ready to go all out for him? That is a question that should boil in everybody's heart. As we have got a bit of glimpse, that is just one out of many videos that we're going to be playing tonight. I'm just preparing you with what a war looks like. For those that are saying, hey, Mabogun Sheri, we have seen it before. It has been televised before during the Biafra War, the first war to be televised in the world. As we speak tonight, Ogun Loka Kiribugbaye, either through conventional war or guerrilla warfare, or through the technology or through the propaganda. Nigeria will have to choose one. Either Tinubu allow peace, or there will be crisis and there will be chaos. And if care is not taken, there will be another war in Nigeria. So, let's listen a little bit more while I then start preparing the next video. Before I take you to how Oluwole got independent, we need to go back and understand the dispute, because something is always the dispute. In Kokoloma fa dispute. In terms of dispute in Nigeria, is what we call the fraudulent amalgamation of 1914. That is a dispute. If that was not there, we would not have any reason to be asking for Yoruba nation today. But since the 1914 amalgamation by the British, just like the Italian in that region as well, we then have to work out the modality to resolve all our disputes. But what people don't want is that they want us to remain in Nigeria by force and then try to see if we can throw away the dispute. And you can't throw away dispute because in dispute, it will continue to build up until people will get what they want. And that is exactly what Eritrea have done. There was a landmark dispute and they had to fight for decades. Independent. Why do we go through that if we can find a solution? But that will be subject, like I said, to whether Tinubu will listen. Not just to the Yorubas, to the others. Let's go back again.
But for the refugees who fled the fighting, the cost is already too high. As uncertainty about the future continues, the risk of a hunger crisis grows daily. Hundreds of thousands of people on both sides of the border are assembled in refugee camps like this Ethiopian one. In a region blighted by past famines, once again, the people are relying on food aid to survive. Some of the displaced have moved into makeshift tents. They try to recreate a sense of normality, but the living conditions make survival all the more difficult. These Ethiopians used to eke out a living trading with their Eritrean neighbours. Now, many can only think of the raids. We were shelled all the time. Nobody can live in the village now. We were Ethiopians that lived there.
Now, before we move forward, people will be displaced. People will die. Tinubu must not allow another war on his own head, but it's subject to him if he's going to allow peace to reign. If Tinubu does not allow peace to reign, that means we must all prepare for whatever the consequence of what is going to play out. As we prepare you for the next one, the largest battle is the next title. The largest battle in Africa, Eritrea War for Independence. War, W-A-R, what Jaugun, láti fi gba independence war. Are the Yorubas going to fight war to gain their independence, or are we just going to push for full diplomacy and negotiation? Time will tell. Time will tell whether we are going to fight or we are just going to allow peace to reign, subject to what Tinubu will do as the president, chief commander officer, GFR, blah, blah, blah. So let's watch the next video quickly. Again, remember, years and years Eritrea fought. Lofi Jaugun. Something changed along the line that saved the day. You're watching a live transmission, and like I said, Igboho will only be in London. Igboho will not be in America. Neither is there any plan for him to be in America in October. If you're not too sure, always check with Yoruba World Media, myself, before you talk about any activities of Igboho. Mo kí gbogbo wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí.
March is a month of striking heroic feats in Eritrea's glorious struggle for independence. It was 25 years ago, on March 17 to 19, 1988, that the EPLF forces dealt once and for all a blowing defeat through a 72-hour military operation to a special enemy command, otherwise known as the NATO-IS, which had constituted a significant portion of the Ethiopian Derg army. Obliteration of the 100-kilometer-long, well-fortified front line of colonial Ethiopia's army at Nakfa ushered in the EPLF's transition from years of revolutionary standoff to strategic military offensive, thereby penetrating 70 kilometers deep into the enemy-held territory from Hidai to Mishalet. The victory over the NATO command is considered by the historian Basil Davidson to be the most significant victory for any liberation movement since the Vietnamese victory at Dien Bien Phu. It has also been described as the largest battle in Africa since El Alamein.
At that time, a great historian, a scholar, especially.
You see the importance of an historian. You keep hearing historian, scholars, historians, just like the leader of the Yoruba self-determination, Professor ADEBANJI Akintoye. Ìdí tá a ṣe ń sọ fẹ́yìn tí ẹ máa ń ní a bit of misunderstanding ni pé an historian understands the game. He knows the end game because there's already a dispute. There's a dispute in Nigeria, but everybody does not want us to look into the dispute and resolve it once and for all. Olúkálùkù ń yọbọ́rọ́, wọ́n ń yọbọ́rọ́. Èyí tí ó yẹ kí gbogbo wa ká jọ wò pé kí ló ń fa awuyewuye, kí ló ń fa wàhálà tí a fi wà nínú this situation. This dispute, if it's not resolved, can end up into multiple phases of problems. Death, famine, hunger, destructions of lives and property. Because the more tí ẹ bá ń avoid pé ká lọ yanjú dispute, aáwọ̀ tó wà láàrin wa àti Nàìjíríà, aáwọ̀ tó wà láàrin Nàìjíríà àtàwọn ẹ̀yà tó kù, we are all lying to ourselves. But how do we resolve all these disputes? Is it on social media? The social media is there for its own benefit. But the dispute has been there since the British Empire that ended up Nigeria in 1960 independent. And when there's a dispute, you do not run away from me. You find every means to resolve that dispute. The more tẹ́ bá ń sá pé ẹ fẹ́ jẹ́ kó ṣẹlẹ̀, the more tá a kàn sún ọjọ́ ìyà yẹn síwájú ni because it will eventually happen. Tẹ́ bá ní kò ní ṣẹlẹ̀ lénìí, ó lè lọ ṣẹlẹ̀ lọ́la. That is why it is called dispute. You don't run away from dispute. You find solution to resolve the dispute. The Yoruba Nation campaign tó ń lọ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ lénìí is because of the dispute of the 1914 fraudulent amalgamation. And until the Yorubas look into that amalgamation so that we can de-amalgamate and then move forward by building brick by brick of our own independent, autonomous, far away from Nigeria country, there will never be peace and there will be more chaos and there's likely to be war in Nigeria. But in tó bá ti mú wa kájọ gbé yẹ̀wò, kájọ review ẹ̀, kájọ kọ́ ọmọlúàbí, kájọ sọ pé kí ló ń fa awuyewuye àti pé what can be done. But what people want is that you want to run away from the true meaning of Nigeria because Nigeria does not have any meaning. The more tá bá ń sún dispute yẹn, the more the enemies are also pushing in to overthrow every one of us. And they mean everything they say. Because the enemies are prepared for ogun. Wá tá a bá sọ pé a fẹ́ jà ogun, àwọn ẹni tá ń wí, àwọn fẹ́ jà ogun because àwọn máa ń jà ogun gbalẹ̀ ni. Nígbà tí gbogbo wa ń jó káàkiri, tó yẹ ká béèrè pé kí ni meaning Nigeria? Àti pé does it have anything to offer Yoruba people? The Yorubas are saying we should avoid it at any cost. Pé ká má jẹ́ kó dìjà láàrin wa. But already we can see that it has created a lot of enmities between us and àwọn ẹ̀yà tó kù. Because àwọn ẹ̀yà tó kù bá bú wa, àwa náà bú wọn. Báwọn bá ṣépè fún wa, àwa náà ṣépè fún wọn.
There is no land called Nigeria. There is no language called Nigeria. There are no people called Nigerians. We are only deceiving ourselves.
We are not Nigerian.
Okay, where is Nigeria where is the land called Nigeria? What is the Nigerian language? We are nations that had been forced together to live in one pathetic country. So anybody who goes there today to say pray for Nigeria, that person is just deceiving himself because the people who want to be that Nigeria had not sat down to agree if they want to be Nigeria.
These are questions. Eventually, let us remember that an historian knows better than many of us. So let's go back to the video that we were watching earlier.
A scholar of the African liberation movements was there present in the field. He is Basil Davidson. He was a good friend of Eritrea, a good friend of the EPLF, because he was one of the people interested in knowing about the EPLF liberation philosophy, which was to liberate the land and the man step by step. People were fascinated by this philosophy, by this model of, which was a new model in the African independence struggles. So Basil Davidson was there, and as you said, he compared the defeat of the Ethiopian forces in Afabet to the Dien Bien Phu in Vietnam, where the French built a fortress
to listen to this section. For those tó máa ń sọ pé ìlú kan strong, wọ́n lè attack wọn, ìlú kan strong, kò sí nǹkan kan tó lè ṣe ju pé wá take everybody out. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ kẹ́ gbọ́ nǹkan tí arákùnrin yìí sọ níbí báyìí. Pé níjọ́ kan wà nígbà tí oríṣiríṣi ń lọ ní gbogbo ìka táwọn aláwọ̀ funfun ti ṣe fún wa. Wọ́n ná àwọn French, wọ́n build a fortress. Ẹ tó bá mọ the meaning of fortress. America fortress has been invaded so many times in Iraq. Wọ́n máa ń pè bẹ́ẹ̀ ní green belt. Many times not penetrated, even as heavy security. Nigeria must understand through the current administration that kò ń ṣe ẹ̀yà kan ló ń béèrè fún òmìnira, ẹ̀yà tó pọ̀ ni, and it will be difficult to fight every single one of them, even if it's not simultaneously, because tí kan bá spark níbì kan tí kejì ò tẹ̀ spark, the long term is that there will be a ripple effect for everybody in Nigeria. So bẹ́ẹ̀ fẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ̀, bẹ́ẹ̀ bá lẹ́yìn ò fẹ́, àwọn tó náà wọ́n fẹ́, it will have impact on every one of us in the long run. It will have great impact, and that is the reason why I am trying to work out. Ṣé Tinubu ṣó mọ the capacity of in tó wà lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀? Ó lè survive ẹ̀ títí tó máa fi ṣe tán, just like Buhari did. Or it could not, or it might not survive it. I don't know. Time, àsìkò, ago máa ṣàlàyé fún wa. But it can do exactly what the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed, in tó ń ṣe tó fi sọ fún Eritrea. A sì máa débẹ̀ yẹn mo mú díẹ̀díẹ̀ torí kó bá yé wa. Torí pé èyí tẹ́ máa ń rò pé ọ̀nà àbáyọ wo ló fẹ́ wà tá a fi gba Yorùbá nation. Àwọn kan jà for a very long time wọ́n ń pè ní Eritrea. Ẹ rí gbogbo videos yẹn pé ìjà gidi ní ogun gidi ló ń jà. Àwọn ò tí wà ní that situation because àwa sì fi gbáfẹ́ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. A dẹ̀ fẹ́ kẹ́mi bọ́, and that means ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa máa jìyà dáadáa látara inú Nàìjíríà tá a wà táwọn olóṣèlú parọ́ fún gbogbo wa. Since tá a fẹ́ wà ní situation tí à ń rí fídíò tá à ń rí. Because the moment you are in that situation, there's no more country. And that is why I asked, ṣé ká kúkú mú Ògùn state nìkan ká fi prepare àbí ká mú Lagos àti Ògùn, or ká kó gbogbo ẹ̀ papọ̀ simultaneously? It will be subject to what plays out as time goes. Let's go back to the video one more time.
They thought it was not, it was not attackable. But the Vietnamese forces, with their leader, General Giap, they attacked.
He's just telling us about another country tó bá French jà, àwọn Vietnamese. I will go into that some other day. Torí yẹn kọ́ mo gbé wá lẹ́nu. The Vietnamese guerrilla warfare. America sá lọ pátápátá. If you know what a guerrilla warfare means, it is one of the most deadliest thing that any soldier wants to get involved. Because spirit làwọn tẹ́ ń bá jà ní rí wọn. Spirit ni wọ́n. Especially àwọn tó mọ terrain wọn dáadáa. Tó mọ̀ bí ẹni mọ̀ ó tẹ́ pé tó bá dijú báyìí wọ́n mọ̀ dáadáa. And that in táwọn ìyá wa tó fẹ́ bá Nàìjíríà jà. Àwọn ò ní bá Nàìjíríà jà conventional war. Wọ́n máa pa gbogbo wọn dànù. But guerrilla warfare ló máa bá Nàìjíríà jà. While Tinubu is still not thinking. While táwa bá ṣe ń prepare for the dialogue, the negotiation, things can spark at anywhere, even pẹ̀lú àwọn tí wọ́n tẹ̀ láwọn fẹ́ kúrò Nàìjíríà. We saw it as played before. It can be played again. I am not talking about protest or shame. If you go back to the history of Nigeria, even after the death of MK Abiola, we've had so many cases like that. But yet, our much more closer and engaged with each other than before in terms of giving out information. So do not dare anyone in Nigeria pé who lè ṣe kankan. Even àwọn tó ń protest, they can invade Aso Rock. We have just heard about the French fortress that was eventually cracked. Abuja is just there. They will crack it and they will find their way into Aso Rock. I am even talking about àwọn tí wọ́n disagree pẹ̀lú government, but all she believe in one Nigeria. Bangladesh Prime Minister was given 1 hour to evacuate because the masses that were coming, the military would not be able to stop them. And we saw what happened. We saw how it eventually played out when the Bangladesh Prime Minister eventually saw all manners of different things played out. You'll be surprised that people took every goddamn thing. Ó má jẹ́ pé pátá Tinubu la máa rí lórí social media. I am not talking about our Yoruba self-determination. I am not talking about the Nigerians today. What they can do if they invade Aso Rock. Ó má jẹ́ pé bra Remi Tinubu will be displayed on Instagram and TikTok. And the senators will not be able to go back to their chamber, the red and the green chamber. One or two matches got on October 1st. I care less, but all I know is that something was spark. And the push is building gradually. Ó kàn build gradually. But in our Yoruba nation, but it is moving. Dear. So if you look at the screen, software, you can see what everybody took out from the Prime Minister's house or residential. Àti Ronio, àti Branio, àti Patanio. Every manner of things were stolen. This is the bra of the Prime Minister of Bangladesh. Anti-government protester loot ex-Bangladesh Prime Minister underwear and others after breaking into her home. Do not joke that it cannot happen in Nigeria. It will happen and heaven will not fall down. Kinimoso, Ashele, the heaven is not going to fall down. If this can happen in Bangladesh, trust me, it will happen in Nigeria. And this is the reason why Tashen Sofun Omolodu Odepe, this Northern Protectorate and the Southern Protectorate that led to the amalgamation must be looked into before it is too late. If otherwise, blood will spill and millions of people will lose their lives for Tinubu's stupidity. But for us, Tashin Sokwe, there is still room for negotiation. And when Yatoku Lema disagree, there is no more room for negotiation. And that is why they are making all their effort. We might not do the same thing, but we will push. So let's go back to the video and I will start preparing the next video again.
And the French were stuck there. And after 57 days, the French gave up. And they were
people hear that word, can we, the Yorubas, without guns, without bullets, be on the street of Lagos for 57 days? Can we do it? Are we prepared for that? You heard that people fought to hold a space for 57 days, and that means the French gave up. Shall I not let you the same thing? But ṣé ọmọ Yorùbá tí kò mọ ìdí tá a ṣe fẹ́ gba Yorùbá country, ṣé tí bá sọ pé kájọ wà níta fún 57 days, including myself, I will not be in abroad. I will be on the ground. Pẹ̀lú olóyè, pẹ̀lú gbogbo wa, not just olóyè nìkan. Can we all be out for 57 good days? Can we do it? Do you know what 57 days means to shut down a place? Then we will force Tinubu to negotiate on our terms and conditions. Because Tinubu is still using his own terms and conditions on us right now on this fraudulent country called Nigeria. That somebody was asking this question again.
There is no land called Nigeria. There is no language called Nigeria. There are no people called Nigerians. We are only deceiving ourselves.
We are not Nigerian.
Okay, where is Nigeria where is the land called Nigeria? What is the Nigerian language? We are nations that had been forced together to live in one pathetic country. So anybody who goes there today to say pray for Nigeria, that person is just deceiving himself, because the people who want to be that Nigeria had not sat down to agree if they want to be Nigeria.
We have not agreed. So 57 days. Let's go back and listen more.
Ready to withdraw and to sign a peace agreement.
The French, a powerful country, a powerful nation with the weapon and ammunition, built a fortress. But that fortress was cracked. And that fortress means that it was kept alive with the people that wanted to take back their land for 57 days. Then what happened? The French then negotiate and say, àwọn ilé máa ṣe, wọ́n máa ṣe, tá bá fún wọn láyè sí bóyá orí àwọn French ló máa fi kọ́ igi. Don't ever think that the indigenous people that are crying out today, or those that still believe in one Nigeria, cannot do anything. Spirit ẹlòmíì in tó fẹ́ ṣe ojú tèmi lọ. Èmi dẹ̀ ń wo many spirits of the Yorubas àtàwọn ẹ̀yà tó kù, torí ẹ̀yà tèmi ni mò ń sọ̀rọ̀ mọ tí wọ́n lè ṣe. Torí ntọ́ lè ṣe yẹn kò sẹ́ni tó mọ̀ ọ́. Kò ń ṣe pé tí wọ́n lè ṣe ò sí, àmọ́ àmọ́ ntọ́ lè ṣe. Ìyẹn la ṣe ń sọ fún Tinubu Jagaban pé má fi ọ̀rọ̀ yìí ṣeré. Má fi ọ̀rọ̀ yìí ṣeré. Ìwọ ló ṣe wà lórí oyè. And as I prepare us, because we've got a bit of grasp of that, now let me take you through another route again. Once again, my name is Oluwole Koiki. The Koiki Media, bringing the world closer to your doorstep. Share the program, and if it's the first time here, remember to love and give the thumbs up. As you are nínú independent of how ni Eritrea, báwo ló ṣe gba independent wọn? How did Eritrea gain their independence? Báwo ló ṣe gba independence wọn? Òun la ṣì ń sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí. How did Eritrea gain their independence? Before we play the next video, let's do some readings quickly. My name is Olamiko Iki. Good evening to you all and welcome to the transmission all the way from London in England at about 1807. Ago mẹ́fà lẹ́yìn ago mẹ́fà kọjá ìṣẹ́jú méje. Àwa máa ń lo 24 hours clock. So a sọ pé 1800 hours. Mo kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá tó ń bẹ lórí ìkàlẹ̀ ẹni tí ó máa tún wò. After the World War II, lẹ́yìn ogun World War II, Eritrea was annexed to Ethiopia. The only way ta lè fi ní understanding ni pé ká kọ́kọ́ lọ wo meaning annexed. Tó bá pè nǹkan ní
Annex.
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 Kò ń ṣe anus lọ sọ wọ́n ní
Annex.
Past tense will be annexed. What is the meaning of
Annex?
Add as an extra or subordinate part. Imagine ìlú tó dá dúró wọ́n wá ní ọ̀dà ẹ fáwa náà lélẹ́yìí káwa náà máa lò ó. Annexation, according to international law, is a forcible accusation and assertion of a legal title over one state territory by another state, usually following the military occupation of the territory. In current international law, it is generally held to be an illegal act. Nigeria is an illegal location that must be taken down to save lives. People also ask, what is the meaning of
Annex?
The past tense will be annexed. To take possession of an area of land or country, usually by force or without permission. The UK, àwọn mọ̀ nípa yẹn dáadáa. UK also annexed this small island in the west of Scotland in 1955. A Nicolatin land dispute. The dispute has always been ever since all this fraudulent colonial era. And it is time that it needs to stop. And Nigeria as one empire from the British side must collapse gradually. Though that collapse, it will spill more blood and it will create terrorism to Europe because we don't know who is who. Many terrorists are holding Nigerian passport, and we have told you about one before called Mutab. Mutab wanted to blow the American airline. He's a criminal. Umar Farouk Abdul Muttalab was a Fulani jihadist that boarded an American airline and was ready to blow it off on a December Christmas, known as the shoe bomber. How many of you remember him? So we are saying to the Europeans, and these are the message that will be taken on the 12th of October. Why do we need rally in the UK? So that we tell the UK government that we do not know how many people have been radicalized because this young man studied at the London University. Radicalized in Nigeria. These questions we must tell the UK government. According to the Sky News of the Friday, the 8th October 2010, work out the years and how many people have got Nigerian passport, and some of them even have access to travel around the world, but they are jihadis and they are just waiting to activate. The longer we sleep, the more the sleeper cells will come through our borders, marry, settle down, and they cannot even tell you that they will kill you. But in the next decade, you will be the first person to make up padà. Because this guy, then would you anyway screen, known as Abdul Muttalab, spent 3 good years at the University College London. Tí wọ́n ráyè wọlé sí nítorí pé ò lówó university. I pity Yoruba people. À ń fi ná sórí kíni ẹ bá ń parí ẹ̀. Níbi táwọn ilé lówó dé, ó ráyè wọ university to study degree in engineering, but he was a jihadist. Mélòó ló wà nínú Nàìjíríà báyìí nísìn? Tàmù. Tó sọ pé tó bá kú, á lọ marry 10, 12 virgin. And this is why we must tell the UK government on October 12 pé àpẹrù arákùnrin kó wá pa àwọn èèyàn yín sí bíbá. Because if he was able to gain university admission, how many of you let you apply for UK student visa and you were rejected? But yet, this young criminal known as Abdul Muttalib had the privilege to come to the UK, and then December 25th, he wanted to blow up an American airline. Because ideology ni pé pípa làwọn máa ń pààyàn. Ṣéyàn lè rírú eléyìí níta, ẹ wo bó ṣe fresh lójú. Kíyàn lè sọ pé terrorist lélẹ̀. Ṣé wọ́n dá terrorist mọ̀ tó bá rí? Ṣé tó bá rí lè wá sọ pé terrorist ni? That is why a rally in the UK would also be telling the UK government, Keir Starmer, all about this. So let's read the article. We go back again to the Eritrea, which is the reason why we are sitting here this evening. The man accused of trying to blow up a transatlantic airline with explosives sewn into his underpants was not radicalized while studying at the British University, a report has concluded. Ẹ̀mọ̀ reason tí UK ṣe sáré ṣe yẹn, ó máa damage UCL, University College London. Pé kí ni kọ́ ti gbọ́ pé inú yunifásitì yẹn lọ́mọ yẹn ti radicalize. So wọ́n sáré ṣe conclusion tí wọ́n ní táwọn òyìnbó good at nìyẹn. Torí àwọn ṣe jẹ́ kí business center wọn kó collapse. Because if everybody realized that he was radicalized at the UCL, then who is going to send their children to UCL again? These are the questions that many Yoruba people do not want us to ask, because there's a dispute in Nigeria, and that dispute must be looked into. Ẹ bá mi gbọ́ wọlé share button and invite others, because ètò tó ń kọ́yàn lọ́gbọ́n ẹ máa rí mú kankan mú lọ ni. Torí pé ìwọ tó fẹ́ wá UK tó ń bẹ Ọlọ́run lójoojúmọ́, àwọn eléyìí ní access láti wọ UK. Kò ń ṣe pé wọ́n kódà UK government máa ń bẹ̀ wọ́n ni pé irú àwọn táwọn fẹ́ lélẹ̀. Bọ̀wọ́ wá jẹ́ kó yé wa pé ọ̀dọ̀ wọn kọ́ ló ti radicalize o. Then níbo ni wọ́n ti radicalize bọ̀bọ́ yìí? Ṣé Nàìjíríà ni? Ṣé Saudi Arabia ni? Ṣé Dubai ni? Ìlú wo ni àdóhùn náà ti lọ gba training ní Afghanistan? I pity Yoruba people. Ẹ máa jó káàkiri, ẹ sọ pé kò kàn yín, kò kàn yín. But when it happens, everybody will face the consequence of not reacting nígbà tá à ń sọ̀rọ̀ síta báyìí. Umar Farouk Abdul Multala was a student at the University College London UCL before his alleged failed attack on Christmas Day last year, 2009. Ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ yẹn ṣẹlẹ̀. He apparently attempted to ignite. Ó fẹ́ ignite ẹ̀bẹ́ni tó fẹ́ mu sìgá. Ẹ̀bẹ́ni tó fẹ́ mu sìgá, ó gbọ́dọ̀ fẹ́ ìṣáná sí. Ó fẹ́ ignite explosive. He smuggled on a bird flight as they were jetting out on his final descent. Already láti ignite it. Do you know how many people were on board on that Northwest Airline flight 253 from Amsterdam to Detroit? Bó ṣe gbé wọlé Ọlọ́run nìkan ló mọ̀. Oh my God. Ó gbé wọlé. 280 people would have perished because of these terrorists. But gbà tó jẹ́ pé kò ń ṣe ọ̀dọ̀ wa lélẹ̀ tí ṣẹlẹ̀. Èyí tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Ìwó, ní Ọ̀wọ̀, massacre nínú church, St. Francis Church, ẹ ti gbàgbé. Till date, nobody has been charged. So let's go through it. The Nigerian now known as Umar Farouk studied engineer at the University College in 2005 up to 2008 and also was Islamic Society president from 2006 to 2007. Hallelujah. The inquiry by the independent panel that was set up by the University Council, and when they set it up, found that there was no evidence to suggest he was radicalized at the UCL. But it added that the university approach to freedom of expression and hosting visiting speakers left students open to risk in the future. Àwọn tí wọ́n ń gbé wá sí oríṣiríṣi wá sílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Oh my God. Àìtí mọ inú odó tá máa dọ̀rá sí. Àwọn wáàsí kan wà táwọn èèyàn bá gbọ́ tán They will overdo things. I told you I was lucky not to have got involved while I was in Nigeria back after my secondary school in 1995. And when Shokoto Bembe Keke, I think they call them Teblik. Be careful with them. They will radicalize you and you will hate your family. You will hate your parents. You will go away from your friends. And that way, you will not be your normal self anymore. I only Teblik. I was lucky not to have followed them. I did for long. The report called for a number of improvements, including eléyìí táwọn eléyìí ṣe nísìnyí pé wọ́n kàn sáré sọ pé eléyìí arákùnrin yìí o àwọn ò mọ̀ rí o ní táwọn fi yọ tira wọn nìyẹn. But when we go back to this criminal ọmọ burúkú yìí tó fẹ́ gbẹ̀mí àwọn èèyàn, ó fẹ́ yọ ẹ̀mí kúrò lára àwọn ènìyàn. Ẹ já wo ohun tí CNN sọ. According to the CNN, I think there's a video. Let's see if we can get the video in. Okay, video in play. Underwear bomber now get life imprisonment. But lọ́dọ̀ tiwa nílẹ̀ Yorùbá, Tinubu gan ní Nigeria rather. Tinubu say, just let them go. They have repented. Even they have swear with Quran. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Imagine Tinubu sọ fún wa pé they have swear with the Quran. Pé wọ́n ní ṣerú ẹ̀ mọ́, wọ́n ní pààyàn mọ́. But in America, you go in there for your rest of your life. So I can confirm that this underwear bomber known as Umar Farouk is now in a prison cell in America. So I just took us there because we were coming from somewhere, which I'm going to take us back to annexation. So let's go back to the Eritrea as we were discussing. So at the moment in annexation, ìlú tí kí ni mo pè lẹ́ǹkan. Annexation, according to the international law, is a forcible accusation, and the accession of legal title by one state territory by another, usually following a military occupation, or just as a simple word, to take possession of an area or land or country by force, just like Nigeria was taken by force on every single one of us. So following the communist Ethiopian government defeat in 1991 by the coalition group by armed groups, notable the EPLF, Eritrea declare its independence. Mo fẹ́ kẹ́ farabalẹ̀ gbọ́ bíbá. Torí ẹ̀yin tẹ́ máa ní, ká lọ declare, ẹ lọ declare, ó yẹ gbé declaration jáde, ẹ jẹ́ ká declare. You don't declare if you cannot face the consequence of the next phase of ìjà tó tẹ̀lé. Tẹ́ ẹ bá ti lè jà tẹ̀lé in declaration yín, you must well not declare because it's going to be as useless as tissue paper. Eritrea also declared its independence. The Eritrea officially celebrates its first anniversary of independence on the May 24, 1993. After tí wọ́n ti jà lọ jàbọ̀ tí ogun ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ́tún lósì. Eritrea War of Independence. So let's go and read a little bit more, then I'll play more video in the course of the program. The Eritrean War of Independence was an armed conflict. War Loigi. War is an armed conflict between the armed force of a state or between the governmental forces and the armed groups that are organized under a certain command structure and have the capacity to sustain military operations or between such organized groups. If you make a declaration in Nigeria and you're not well prepared, even with Tinubu in the power, they will kill every one of us, and that will be the end of the Yoruba nation. So don't joke with Kekomani. Ejade cannot declare. You declare to be prepared for whatever the consequence that will follow. tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá ti lè ṣe yẹn ó bẹ́tà ká má tẹ̀tí gbẹnulé ọ̀rọ̀ declaration tọ́tẹ́ bá gbẹnulé declaration ó ń ṣe mọ́ínmọ́ín. You must be prepared to face the consequence. So let's go back to the history of the War of Independence. War, W-A-R, ogun ló máa fi ń gbàlú. But at the point of báwọn ilé ti jà ogun, what then changed was the Prime Minister, a young man that was born in the 70s. Sọ pé no, ogun tá ti jà ti tó, nídìí ogun mọ́. Ṣé President Bola Ahmed Tinubu ọmọlódù ọdẹ gbélẹ̀kẹ̀ sídìí má gbé sídìí ṣé ó lè accept pé ogun tó ti jà nínú Nàìjíríà yìí ó jẹ́ kó fi òpin sí kó jẹ́ kí olúkálukú máa bá tiẹ̀ lọ? Àsìkò ló máa sọ̀gbà yẹn fún wa. Torí pé tó o bá ṣe àsìkò máa sọ, tó bá ṣe àsìkò máa sọ. So let's come back again to the Eritrea war. Ogun Eritrea ló ń pè. Kí ni wọ́n ń jà fún? Torí ẹlòmíràn mọ̀ tá à ń jà fún. Ìjà YouTube ló ń jà tó fi gbowó. Ìtẹ́lòmíì tó wà lórí ẹ̀ nìyẹn lójoojúmọ́ tó bá ti ń rí gbogbo àwa Yorùbá Nation campaign. Owó YouTube yìí ṣá. I was watching Ronaldo YouTube channel at about 53 million. So tẹ́lẹ̀ bá ń sọ pé àwọn gbowó YouTube kí ló ní Ronaldo á máa gbà? I wonder the kind of kòkòrò tó ń rìn lórí yín. Mo kí gbogbo ìtẹ̀wà lórí ìjókòó. The Eritrean War of Independence bí ṣe sọ ó mú ogun dání, even though the final result that led to the referendum a máa sọ̀rọ̀ débẹ̀. Mo kàn ń gbé yín lọ díẹ̀ tó ti bá bí kí n lọ straight ẹ̀rí ní understanding ẹ̀. So ẹ̀yin tẹ́ máa ń sọ fún wa pé ẹ má pètò ogun, àwọ̀ pètò ogun, but a mọ bí ogun ṣe rí. Bí ẹ̀yin lẹ̀ mọ bógun ṣe rí, èmi mọ bí ogun ṣe máa rí. Mo mọ tó máa jẹ́ the end ẹ̀. Ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ ogun la mọ̀ àmọ́ parí ẹ̀. Eritrea ìparí ẹ̀ ni pé wọ́n gba independence wọn. It's as simple as that. Mo kí gbogbo èèyàn wa tẹ̀wà lórí ìjókòó. Màá kí gbogbo yín dáadáa ká tó parí ètò. Ìtàmọ̀ ni pé ogun táwọn Eritrea jà, they might not be perfect, but they are still going to be building their country. But wọ́n parí ìjà yẹn. Wọ́n dẹ̀ jẹ́ kó yé wa pé láti September 1961 wọ́n jà ogun yẹn fún 29 years 8 months 4 weeks. Àwa ti ṣe 3 years. Ẹlòmíì ni ó ti sún mi. Kí ló dé? Ṣèbánu lẹ sọ pé a máa gba Yorùbá country because kò lọ understanding tá gbé dání. Yóò rò pé bóun ṣe máa ń ra bọ̀ọ̀lì lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ ilé ẹ̀ tóun bá jáde yà ní bọ́ọ̀lì wọ́n fẹ́ pẹ̀lẹ́ pà bọ̀ọ̀lì ọ̀hún nísìn rí jẹ. Àgbàdo lẹ̀ ń jẹ nísìn. Àgbàdo gan nísìn màálù ló ń bá yín jẹ ní oko. Àníṣe àti kúrò ní Nàìjíríà kọ́ níṣẹ́ àmọ́ ṣá lè jáde sí títì for 57 days àti gbọ́ nínú fídíò lẹ́ẹ̀kan. Ṣé tó lóye Ìgbòho bá ní ó yẹ gbogbo yẹn bọ́ta but a máa wà níta fún 57 days. Ṣé òun ṣe ìtọ́ máa bí mi pé kí ni ìyàwó mi máa jẹ nílé? Torí púpọ̀ nù yín ẹ expect pé ká bọ́ ìyàwó yín wà tẹ́fà wà ní títì. Àbí ẹ ti gbàgbé pé ìyàwó yín máa ní access sí etí ìyàwó tèmi náà ní access sí tó ń gbádùn ní UK nígbà táwọn kan ti jàjà yẹn fún wọn. 50,000 naira equivalent not ọmọ tèmi nìkan gbogbo ọmọ tó bá bí sílùú yìí àbí tó ní right of residence nílùú yìí. Mo sọ èyí tẹ́ gbé ẹ̀yin jápa ẹ má kara yín mọ́ àwa torí ẹ̀yin jápa ẹ̀yin ò ní irú ìwé táwa ní. Ọlọ́run á jẹ́ kẹ́yìn náà ni ẹ máa ṣe sùúrù ni àwa náà struggle ká tó gbà ni. Àmọ́ ẹ̀yin jápa tó yẹ pé COS lẹ bá dé àbó wá ṣe student o ò lè bímọ sílùú ìkọ́ fún ẹ lówó bóun ẹ̀ kò náwó dẹ̀ àfi tó bá náwó dẹ̀ ni tó níwèé lọ́wọ́ ó náwó dẹ̀ tó dá nìyẹn. Tó o bá náwó dẹ̀ ni tó níwèé lọ́wọ́ tó jẹ́ pé ẹni tó ń gbé bọ̀ lẹ́jọ́ náwó dẹ̀ pé ó yá jẹ́ kébì náà sáré bímọ torí pé máa ń gbọ́ lórí Koiki Media pé wọ́n máa ń fáwọn ọmọ awọ tó nà yẹn ẹ máa tọ́jú ẹni o wàá gbéṣẹ́ sí mọ́sù wàá máa ṣe extra hours. Ẹ yẹ ká padà sórí ìpìtà ń bá lọ. The Eritrean War mo fẹ́ yẹ kẹ́ mọ̀ pé ogun lọ́ọ́ fi gba independent wọn. Does not mean that we will not continue with negotiation and diplomacy. But má máa sọ fún wa pé kò lè dogun. ẹ má máa sọ yẹn lẹ́nu torí dispute ti wà nínú Nàìjíríà láti 1914 and dispute tó wà nínú Nàìjíríà ni pé Tinubu náà wà aware about that dispute ó tó di president kí lóun máa wá ṣe fún dispute yẹn ṣáàkọ̀ máa travel máa lọ China máa lọ America máa lọ Dubai máa lọ kìnìkan while the dispute is right under his nose because there are people that are asking questions that needs to be answered. 29 years 8 months 4 weeks ní Eritrea ló fún wọn ní final result. Àwọn ọ̀bẹ Ọlọ́run pé kó tó yẹn torí a ti ń bọ̀ láti 29 years 25 years of a fraudulent democracy. Tá bá add the 4 years ìmọ̀ tá a ti ń ṣe Yorùbá nation. Àwa náà ti pé 29 ẹ jẹ́ á fọ́ gbogbo ẹ̀ lójú. Ẹ jẹ́ á tigi bọra wa lójú ká lè yọjú ẹlòmíì jáde ká fi dín ẹyin. Ká yọjú ẹ̀ dáje ká fi dín ẹyin torí pé wọ́n ò ní gbọ́. Ìyẹn ló ṣe ní tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá nọra yín nínú ilé báwo lára àtàgùn ṣe pé wọ́n pẹ́ ẹ ti ṣe tán. Àwọn kan ní ẹ má ẹ̀ka nọ́ra wa ẹ ṣáà yẹ ká máa ṣe tọmọlúàbí èmi náà láìkì yẹn ọmọlúàbí náà là ń bá lọ ẹ̀ má wàá bí mi pé báwo la máa gba Yorùbá nation. Kí ni wọ́n ń jà fún? Torí nǹkan kan nìyẹn gbọ́dọ̀ jà fún. Whatever you are going to fight for ó gbọ́dọ̀ mọ̀ pé in tó wọ́tẹ̀ ni lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí olóyè ò ní sí l'Amẹ́ríkà o nínú October gbogbo ẹni tó bá ní olóyè ibo ló máa wà lágbára Ọlọ́run olóyè máa wà pẹ̀lú wa ní London ìyẹn ní rally àti dinner tí a dẹ̀ máa ṣe other activities and engagement while he's here in the UK. Now in táwọn Eritrea náà ń jà fún ni pé aim at achieving self-determination. That is what we are aiming as well. And the self-determination is referred to a people's right to form its own political entity. And internal self-determination is the right to representative government with a full suffrage. Kò ń ṣe political party PDP criminals àti APC 419. So self-determination kò ń ṣe ní láwọn èèyàn ti ń jà but àwọn Eritrea rò pé àwọn náà máa tètè rí gbà ìjà yẹn wá lọ fún 29 years 8 months and 4 weeks. Àwa wà ní just 4 years. Ara ti kódà ẹlòmíì ara ti nípa pé ìbáná lẹ sọ pé a máa declare. And this is the reason why you come on this platform is the lecture room to prepare us for the war ahead. Ìjà la ṣì ń jà nísìn, ìjà ẹnu ni mò ń jà. Using my media to highlight and see what we can do for the amalgamation of Nigeria. Let's move swiftly. The Eritrean War of Independence was an armed conflict and insurgency aimed at achieving self-determination and the most important thing, independence for the Eritrea from the Ethiopian rule. Are we ready for the independence of Yoruba nation from Nigeria? Ṣé a ti ṣetán? Ask yourself. Don't ask me. Ẹ ní láti béèrè lọ́wọ́ Ìgbòho. Ìgbòho ti sọ tóun fẹ́. Olóyè ọmọ Adéyẹmọ ti sọ tóun fẹ́. What do you want? Kí ni ìwọ náà fẹ́? I'm just asking a question. Because ọmọ Adéyẹmọ jẹ́ ká mọ̀ pé òun o níbi tí gbogbo òun tóun ní òun yáfẹ́ fún ìjọba kíjọba máa gbé lọ. Ó dà ẹ ti gbalé lọ́wọ́ òun ẹ gba mọ́tò lọ́wọ́ òun ẹ jẹ́ kóun ṣebí ó yẹ kó lóyè náà wà nínú Nàìjíríà kó máa lọ patí ní weekend kó máa dàgbádá bolẹ̀ káwọn boys tẹ̀lé lẹ́yìn kí security tẹ̀lé lẹ́yìn kí mọ́tò kó máa sún fún kẹrẹ̀ kúrò. Fúlàní ò ní dá dúró irú láìtẹ́ kó náà máa gbádùn nílẹ̀ Yorùbá lẹ́nu nìyẹn ó wá dẹni tó wà lẹ́yìn òde torí àwa because gbogbo polóyè wà lẹ́yìn òde lẹ́nu nísìn it's because of us because tó bá yẹ pé kò bá wa ṣe Yorùbá nation ní Ìbídélé Momodu and I keep mentioning Délé Momodu because he's a brother ẹ̀gbọ́n ló jẹ́ he's a public figure former presidential aspirant the owner of Ovation we see him all the time especially with the dancing senator. Bólóyè ò tẹ̀lé wọn ní sàhá yẹn òun náà láwọn tó náà máa tẹ̀lé olóyè náà máa tẹ̀lé àwọn tí wọ́n jọ máa ṣe fàájì àwọn tó máa kí nílé. And for over 3 years now, all this engagement, ṣé ẹ mọ̀ kó ti stop? Ṣé ẹ mọ̀ kó máa polóyè sí àwọn event lójoojúmọ́ ni? Àwọn onítíátà pé, àwọn onímúvìá pé, àwọn olórin, ẹni tó fẹ́ upcoming artist. Bàbá ẹ ṣe jẹ́ ká lo Mercedes yìí ká kàn fi sáré shoot film. Ẹ má ẹ̀ kó break o, ó dà ẹ sáré lù kẹ́dá padà. Do you know how many events tó lóyè tó lè? But olóyè náà ò dúró tán. Ìyẹn ni mo ṣe dúpẹ́ fún díẹ̀ òjò níbí.
Ọmọ Oòduà. Ọ̀gá Fúlàní, ọ̀gá Fúlàní, ọ̀gá Fúlàní ló jẹ́ o. Yorùbá nation yìí ti gbogbo wa ni. Kó má gbọ́dọ̀ bàjẹ́. Torí kò sílùú mìíràn.
Kí ló kà? Kí ló wí? Kí ló ọ̀dọ̀? Kí ló kà? Ọmọ Oòduà. Ọ̀dọ̀ sọmọ Nàìjíríà. Oòduà ló ní ìyàlẹ̀. Kí ló kà? Kí ló wí? Kí ló.
Impediment to Yoruba development is the impediment to Oòduà development. Without Nigeria, we won't be where we are. 1962, we were far ahead of South Korea and North Korea. We were far ahead of China even. We had television before France. We had radio before South Africa. Now look at where we are today. I think it's a shame that even any Yoruba man can be talking about restructuring at this point in time. What are we restructuring? This country that is already shot to pieces? I don't think that's what we want. But they are always talking about giving Nigeria a chance. The patience of Yoruba with Nigeria has come to an end.
And welcome back into the conversation. À ń gbé yẹ̀wò, mo kí gbogbo ẹni tẹ́ ń wò wá láti Ogun State. Mo kí wa pé ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ìkànnì wa. Àdárúkọ torí pé a wà lẹ́nu iṣẹ́ lọ́wọ́. And we are discussing something very serious. There's time for joke. There's time for seriousness. The Eritrean knew what they wanted and they stood by it for 29 years, 8 months and 4 weeks. Wá táwa ṣì ń ṣe rakatia independent ní 1960, àwọn ti wà nínú ẹ̀ láti 1961 títí dé 1991 nígbà tí MK Abiola tó ń prepare pé òun náà lọ jẹ president ní 1993 kan tó ti fọwọ́ pàdánù. Kí làwọn Eritrea náà ń jà fún? Achieving self-determination and independence for Eritrea from Ethiopia ruling. Starting in 1961, the Eritrean insurgents engaged in a guerrilla warfare. Láti 1961, ló fi ń jà guerrilla warfare to liberate Eritrea province. Wọ́n fẹ́ liberate kúrò lára the control of the Ethiopian empire under Haile Selassie. Ẹ̀rọ ti arákùnrin yẹn. And later the Dej under Mengistu. Their effort ultimately succeeded in 1991 with the fall of Degi regime. Ìkọ̀kọ̀ máa ṣẹlẹ̀, nìkọ̀kọ̀ máa fi dé. Tinubu should have been an opportunity láti jẹ́ kí gbogbo kìíní kó easy. But bóyá ó máa jẹ́ kó easy, bóyá ó máa jẹ́ kó le bí ojú ẹja. Ẹ̀mọ̀ pa ojú olódò ràbàtà, ojú ẹja ló mọ̀ ọ́ jẹ́. Ìyọ́n náà ni ẹ fi mí lẹ̀. Olódò ràbàtà, ojú ẹja ló mọ̀ ọ́ jẹ́. Wiki. The fall of Deg, also known as downfall of the Deg, was a military campaign that resulted in the defeat of the ruling Marxist-Leninist military junta, the Deg, by the rebel coalition Ethiopian People's Revolution Democratic Front on 28th of May 1991 in Addis Ababa. Eritrea was an Italian colony, just like the British was also, just like Nigeria was the British colony, criminals, took all those areas as if it's their own. Ẹ̀gbọ́n kan táwọn ọba yẹn sọ nígbà tá a play àwọn ọba Kòtónú lẹ́ǹkan. So àwọn Italian, àwọn náà lọ ń lò bẹ̀ yẹn, just like I said, gbogbo ń tọ́pin during the 1884 Berlin Conference. Ìdí tí mo ṣe ń farabalẹ̀ ṣe analysis ni pé ìwọ tí ò ń doubt pé ọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá nation ní bọ́ sí, má doubt sẹ́, mo ní in tó máa padà bọ́ sí ni. But it will need a lot of effort and focus, and not àtìgbà country jagbajagba táwọn yẹn sọ, because they don't know what they're talking about. They have no iota of understanding how the real world is. Now, just like báwa náà ṣe fèsì Britain tó wá sí lẹ́wà ní 1886, àwọn Italian náà dọ́dọ̀ àwọn ilé ní 1880, until the Italians were defeated by the Allies in the World War II in 1941. Afterward, Eritrea briefly became a British protectorate until 1951. Ajagunbalẹ̀ làwọn Britain, àwọn máa ń jagunbalẹ̀ ní. And that is why they were able to capture many countries around the world under their rule. And it is time that we say enough is enough. But bàtà àwọn Yorùbá kan wà comfortable jura wọn lọ, kò jẹ́ kí a fọwọ́ kúnra wa ká lè make effort yẹn so that things can become exactly what we want. Afterward, Eritrea briefly, fúngbà kékeré díẹ̀, became a British protectorate until 1959. Then the United Nations convened after the war to decide Eritrea's future, eventually voting in favor of a federation between Eritrea and Ethiopia. As a result, Eritrea became a constituent state of the Federation of Ethiopia and Eritrea. The federation was intended to last for 10 years, during which Eritrea will have limited autonomy, such as its own parliament, while remaining under the Ethiopian crown. However, the Eritrea autonomy was curtailed and the region was effectively governed as a police state by the imperial authorities during the 1950s. As popular dissatisfaction with the Ethiopian rule grew, an independent movement emerged. Ẹ má máa sọ fún wa pé ká lọ dákẹ́. Independent of Yoruba nation tó yẹ mad lábẹ́ bàbá Akintoye. It is something that must be concluded. If not, àjọ máa tẹ̀ síra wa lójú. You think that we will just come into the program after 2 years, we will run away, abẹ́ mú pàìpàì. What we are doing today is exactly what I'm reading that has played out in 1950. Tàwákọ́ la máa kọ́kọ́ jẹ́ ẹni àkọ́kọ́ tó máa bẹ̀rẹ̀, and it is always called movement, M-O-V-E-M-E-N-T, Mike, Oscar, Victor, Echo, Mike, Echo, November, Tango, Yoruba Nation Movement. Movement ni tó bá sọ ẹwà bọ́lẹ̀, ó ti sùn ìwọ ló sọ àwa complain kò sùn yín, ó sọ àwa ni. Ẹ̀yin lẹ́nu ó sùn yín kò sọ àwa náà, ẹni tó bá sùn kó bọ́lẹ̀, ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ̀ tó pàdé wa láàrin méjì. Ìyẹn ló ṣe ń pè ní movement. A ti náwó, àní nọ́mọ́, òdà ẹ̀ ṣe gbogbo ìtẹ̀ná tẹ́lẹ̀, àdúpẹ́. Àbí? Àwọn tó tún máa ná. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ti ń kàn sí wa pé Kóìkì, èmi ò ní púpọ̀, má dárúkọ, láì tẹ́lẹ̀ fẹ́ ṣe gbà síbẹ̀, ẹ máa fúlẹ̀ up. As soon as we have the first figure, we will roll out the first flag. But we still need many people to join. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ti kàn sí wa. Ẹ má dẹ̀ gbàgbé Àṣàkẹ́ TV show. Ó sì ní the laptop. Àwọn tó ti kàn, mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín. Ẹni tó ì tí ṣe, mo mọ̀ pé ṣù la máa fi ń wo ọ̀tọ̀ bá ń wo pé sleep ẹ̀ tó rẹ̀ ṣe extra hours. Pẹ̀lú gbogbo crisis lẹ́yìn gbé Nàìjíríà ní síta. Àwa là ń gbé crisis ní Nàìjíríà báyìí. Our people have been poor. They are struggling. September ti dé, àwọn tó fẹ́ wọ school Nàìjíríà. Àwa náà láwọn tó fẹ́ wọ school ní bíbáyìí. Wọ́n lọ́ máa kó ló ẹ̀ send owó ilé èèyàn sí Nàìjíríà ní nǹkan tó wà Nàìjíríà lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀. Ẹ ṣáà kọ́kọ́ yọ owó ilé, kẹ̀dẹ̀ yọ owó bus pass. tó bá dẹ̀ pé insurance mọ́tò yẹn make sure pé san because you will end up have nothing. Bí ẹ̀gbọ́n mi Àyùbá ṣe máa ń sọ triple dr a ní ìlú is pay as you go, you pay you go, you no pay you no go anywhere. Ìdọ̀dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo ẹ̀ tí ẹ̀ kàn sí wa náà pé fún iṣẹ́ takuntakun táwa náà ń ṣe lórí ìkànnì wa. Ìdúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín. Mo ní àwọn ọmọ Ìgbò yẹn ẹ bá rí èmi mọ̀ kọ́ máa ń kọ́mẹ̀ntì pọ̀ púpọ̀ yẹn bá bọ́ ṣe kọ́mẹ̀ntì lórí Facebook mi just video táwọn ọmọ wa lọ ṣe ní Lágége yẹn tẹ bá rí àwọn nìkan ló wà lórí ẹ̀ èébú ní pùlà kí ló le tó yìí why you dey come for us ẹ kúrò lọ́dọ̀ wẹ́ lọ ṣe tiyín náà wọ́n mọ̀ páwa gangan ni engine mo sọ fún pé Ìgbòho ní engine wọ́n mọ̀ ni where is Ìgbòho he has collected money àwọn wèrè àwọn bomb bastard ó máa ń dùn wọ́n pé Ìgbòho ló kàn rìn káàkiri báyìí kí làwọn Yorùbá yìí ṣe àjẹsára wọn làwọn lè jẹ Nnamdi Kanu lọ́tì mọ́lé ṣáwa láti Nnamdi Kanu mọ́lé tẹ bá rí bọ́ ṣe kún lábẹ́ àwọn fídíò yẹn comment ọmọ alápẹ̀rẹ̀ wọn wá Yorùbá fraud na lie they no do Yorùbá nation anymore àwọn wèrè ẹ sọ fún wọn pé you be wèrè people àwọn tó jẹ́ gidi yóò gbọ́dọ̀ sọ fún apá àṣẹ Yorùbá nation kì í ẹ̀yin kókó gbogbo aláṣijọ́ wa ní Nàìjíríà you still dey inside Nigeria they lè ṣe the same thing because we are different people ìyẹn lọ́jọ́ yẹn pé we are not gonna do what you are gonna do don't expect us to do exactly what you are gonna do àbúrí yín ò pè bí orí yín ò pè we will do our own ẹ ṣe ti yín ni àwọn náà máa ṣe tiwa but what I will not do is that I will not sit here and allow us to say ẹ fẹ́ lọ ká má jẹ́ kẹ́ lọ èmi máa ń wonder àwọn Yorùbá tó ní kẹ́ máa lọ yẹn because wọn ò láìkì wa àwa náà láìkì wọn so let them go àwa gan lóye kí ni wọ́n máa dùn pé Ìgbò náà fẹ́ kúrò láàrin Nàìjíríà let them go ẹ sọ fún Tinubu pé tún wọn lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ máa lọ káwa sì máa negotiate but ní tó ń ṣe wọ́n ni pé wọ́n ní ìdàwà náà pé káwa náà push ká máa push because wọ́n mọ̀ pé push Yorùbá nation ó máa ní ripple effect ìyẹn la ṣe sọ fẹ́yìn Yorùbá náà pé lóòótọ́ a lè bára wa ṣe ìjọba ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ lájọ máa ṣe àwọn fẹ́ push àwa náà fẹ́ push I just thought I'd bring that in quickly now I've given us the brief so I'm going to play the last video bàbá yẹn ṣe the general overview of the analysis and then because we are already almost 2 hours then I will have the phone line open and inti mo fẹ́ ká review ni pé gbogbo intati boy tí ó fi di pé the prime minister because a máa gbọ́ nínú fídíò yẹn nísìn and I allow that video to run for the 10 minutes èmi náà lè nà ṣe lọ sókè máa sákàlẹ̀ padà I want us to really ask ṣé Tinubu náà lè ṣe similar thing tí prime minister yẹn ṣe tó fi allow pé kólúkálukú máa lọ èyí táwọn jọ ṣe yẹn kò dán mọ́rán mọ́ kólúkálukú máa lọ ṣé Tinubu náà lè ṣe same thing òun ní ìbéèrè nígbà tá a bá ṣe ojú òpó pé Koiki àlàyé tó ṣe lórí ọ̀rọ̀ Eritrea yìí àti Ethiopia tó fi di pé prime minister wọn ìyẹn prime minister tèmi òun ló ṣe in tí Eritrea fi di independent country lẹ́nu ìyẹn ni mo fẹ́ kájọ sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí nígbà tẹ́ bá máa pè wọlé nígbà tá a bá ṣí ojú òpó mo kí gbogbo lélẹ̀ nǹkan sí pé àní kò gbọdọ̀ sú wa kò dẹ̀ gbọdọ̀ rẹ̀ wá ìtọ́fẹ́ ṣe ni pé wọ́n mọ̀ pé tẹ́ bá ti sọ pé ẹ̀ ṣe mọ́ inú àwọn náà máa dùn tí mo sọ ìbá sọ fún yín ó máa rẹ̀ wọ́n ẹ sọ fún wọn pé a ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ mẹ́yẹ bọ̀ lápò ni kò kí ń rẹ́ odò tiwa we will make sure we continue the fight ẹ má gbàgbé ní October lágbára Ọlọ́run pé rally ń bọ̀ ìyẹn nílùú London fún gbogbo ẹni tí kò tí gbọ́ tẹ́lẹ̀ gbogbo ẹni tó ń bọ̀ ní gbogbo agbègbè ẹ tètè kẹfàyè sílẹ̀ níjọ́ yẹn Ọlọ́run àti wọn á ní ọkàn balẹ̀ aṣọ tẹ́ ń wò yẹn òun ni aṣọ tí wọ́n ní ẹni tó bá láǹfààní ìtẹ́ máa fi gbé jákẹ́ẹ̀tì dání ẹ bá ti wọ ilé ẹ lè wọ ẹni tí sísàlẹ̀ ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ́ ṣe kí ni ẹ zip up ẹ̀dẹ̀ fìlà yín bó dẹ̀ pẹ́pẹ́ wé gèlè ni anything tó máa represent yín ẹ̀dẹ̀ máa bọ̀ £25 fẹ́ni tó bá fẹ́ aṣọ yẹn for the fleece ó wà padded inside ó ti wà ní UK ọ̀nà méjì ni wọ́n ti lè collect ẹ̀ wọ́n lè collect ẹ̀ wọ́n dẹ̀ lè post ẹ̀ pẹ̀lú £5 for the delivery or èyí tẹ̀ ń bọ̀ ní dinner bẹ́ẹ̀ ti ṣe sọ fún wa ẹ̀yin àgbà tí yín nínú dinner ó wà important pé kẹ́ gbaṣọ yẹn ní ká tó dé ìjọ rally torí pé ìjọ yẹn lè busy ó máa busy a máa need àwọn volunteers fáwọn tó lè ràn wá lọ́wọ́ fún coordinating tó yẹ pé máa wọ vest the police has already been informed but we are doing more we're engaging with the UK police for that event as well we're also having a coach like a London route bus open bus tó máa gbé àwọn èèyàn bíi 72 pieces money pieces 72 people tó máa lè tẹ̀lé wa tó jẹ́ àwọn àgbàlagbà bóyá fẹsẹ̀ tí wọ́n lè rìn púpọ̀ gbogbo àwa tó kù ẹ jẹ́ ká dress smart bàtà tó jẹ́ pé ó máa free lẹ́sẹ̀ wa torí a máa rìn díẹ̀ kò ń ṣèrìn kékeré náà but notwithstanding gbogbo ẹ̀ tó bá wá lè fi 10 naira ṣé àná náírà mi wà ọ̀dà £10 £20 £50 pé a fi ran this particular event lọ́wọ́ because we're gonna do a lot of things and money will be needed as well. So we are also taking voluntary donations to support the preparation of this particular event, this particular rally. So we hope to see many of you just to come and witness what many Yoruba people have witnessed. Nígbà tí àwọn náà láǹfààní àti pàdé olóyè nígbà tó olóyè bá ń mo máa rántí táwọn ọmọ ẹ máa ti ní olóyè tí ń bọ̀ lọ́nà olóyè tí fẹ́ dé ẹ rántí gbogbo àwọn rálì tán ṣe ní ìlú Èkìtì àti Ọ̀ṣun báyìí làwọn rálì yẹn ṣe rí ẹ jẹ́ kí a ṣe ti London náà kó lárinrin káwọn tó wà nílé náà lè sọ pé yes lóòótọ́ gbogbo apọ́lá máa wà nílé bọ̀ nígbà tó lóyè máa wà ní UK a máa darapọ̀ mọ́ ìwọ tó ń ṣe PC bó bá wá náà kò pọ̀ jù ìwọ tó ń ṣe PDP tó bá wá kò pọ̀ jù nítorí pé gbogbo wa náà láti wá rí pé ilẹ̀kẹ̀ Tinubu báyìí ó dà kó ti já o àwọn Fúlàní ò dẹ̀ tó jẹ́ kó dé padà bí Tinubu ṣe fẹ́ dé ilẹ̀kẹ̀ yẹn bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ń sọ pé náà ilẹ̀kẹ̀ yìí ti jásẹ́ àní jẹ́ kó rí tò mọ́ so October ibi ìbá ní UK lolóyè ń bọ̀ o olóyè will not kò ní lọ sí Amẹ́ríkà gbogbo ẹni tó bá ní olóyè máa wà l'Amẹ́ríkà I can tell you as a spokesman confirm that olóyè will be in UK lágbára Ọlọ́run. Let's listen to this. This is how the Ekiti rally tó ní kí ló sọ kí ló mọ̀ ìwọ̀n yan ti kóòdù yẹn.
Yorùbá làṣà tó rẹwà báwùsà àti Ìgbò ó ti ní tiwọn. Ìre ni àṣà Yorùbá wuyì púpọ̀ ó sì re ni kárí ni ká yẹ ni sí kárí ni ká pọ́n nílé káwọ́ ọ̀ṣọ́ tó dáa ká tún hùwà ire sí o. Àṣà Yorùbá wuyì púpọ̀ ó sì re ni. Àṣà Yorùbá.
Independence from Ethiopia in 1993 is one of the most interesting cases of secession in modern international relations. While many may think of it as a rare example of a successful unilateral secession, it wasn't. Instead, it falls into a very unusual, if not unique, category. In this video, I'm going to explore Eritrea's path to statehood. I'll show that it won its statehood by effectively turning the tables on its parent state. Hello, my name is James Curlinsey. Welcome to Independent Thinking, a channel dedicated to international relations, independence, statehood, and the origins of countries. Time and time again, I've stressed just how difficult it is for peoples to break away and gain independence in the modern world. In many cases, the campaign for statehood is defeated, or else the territory in question finds itself reintegrated back into the parent state. In the more successful scenarios, the breakaway area may become a de facto state, effectively separate but largely unrecognised on the world stage. However, just occasionally, a long-standing secessionist campaign is successful and results in the creation of a new country. One of the most interesting cases of successful secession in the past 30 years was Eritrea's independence from Ethiopia in 1993. Coming at the end of a bitter and brutal 30-year war, it's a surprisingly rare case of a territory that breaks away and eventually manages to get full international recognition and a seat at the United Nations. Given that it had been pursuing independence since the start of the 1960s, many believe that it's a case of unilateral secession. In truth, it isn't. It became independent with the permission of Ethiopia. However, the way in which it secured this permission is a truly remarkable and unusual story.
That is the pointer. Timon sọ pé ṣé Tinubu náà máa lè ṣe something similar to this? Because when I was reviewing this back again, tó tó di pé mo wá ṣe program lé lórí, I was asking the question. However, the way in which it secured the permission is truly remarkably an unusual story. Ṣé Tinubu náà lè fún wa nírú story yẹn? Ó declare Yoruba nation, ó declare Biafra nation, Arewa nation, Ijaw nation, olúkálùkù máa ń lọ. Time, àsìkò máa ń sọ. Anything shortfall of that, that would be, kódà àwọn ìyá kan ní tí Tinubu ò bá ti lè ṣe yẹn, kó má tẹ̀ náà ń padà bọ̀ ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, kó máa gbé ní North. He can do it, but would he do it? Ṣé ó máa ṣe? Because after táwọn èèyàn ti jà, arákùnrin tẹ̀ ń rí ọmọ kékeré ni sí Tinubu, ìgbà tóun délé oyè lókọ̀ òkúta. Let's just give peace to reign. After tí wọ́n ti tẹ̀jẹ̀ sílẹ̀ rẹpẹtẹ, pé káwọn fún peace láyé. Kò dẹ̀ sí nǹkan tó dáa tó peace náà lóòótọ́, but sometimes àwọn kan ń gbà pé kí peace wá. And these are the reasons why táwa ṣe ń sọ pé okay, we will do whatever it takes to find peace. But ṣé Tinubu fúnra rẹ̀ náà máa ṣe peace? Àbókà máa sọ fún wa pé irọ́ this union táwa náà yìí, òun náà la máa wà títí tí bá ti ṣojú òpó lẹ́yìn fídíò yìí. Ẹ̀yin náà láre àǹfààní àti dá sí níta tí ń sọ bọ̀ látẹ̀ nǹkan. Ẹ jẹ́ ká padà sínú fídíò yẹn, Professor Linsky.
So, how did Eritrea gain its independence? Eritrea lies in northeast Africa, bordered by the Red Sea along its eastern coast. Its neighbours include Djibouti to its southeast and Sudan to its northwest. However, its longest land border is with Ethiopia. At around 120,000 square kilometres or 45,000 square miles, its population, according to latest UN estimates, is about 3.5 million inhabitants. By virtue of its strategic location along one of the world's key trading routes, it has a long and rich history. However, the story really begins in the 19th century with the expansion of European colonialism in Africa. In 1869, the first Italian commercial enterprise was established in Eritrea. Then, 20 years later, in 1890, the Kingdom of Italy formally established the colony of Eritrea. Following Italy's conquest of the Empire of Ethiopia in the mid-1930s, Eritrea was incorporated into the newly formed territory of Italian East Africa alongside Ethiopia and Italian Somaliland. In 1941, Italy was defeated by British forces and Ethiopian guerrillas during the Second World War and forced to relinquish its African holdings, while Ethiopia regained its previous independence and in fact went on to become one of the founding members of the United Nations in 1945. Eritrea now found itself under British rule. This continued until the end of the war, when the territory was formally placed under British trusteeship. Meanwhile, Italian Somaliland was eventually placed back under Italian administration in 1949. It gained its independence in 1960 and united with British Somaliland to create Somalia. I look at the unhappy consequences of this in my video on Somaliland. I put a link above and in the description below. In line with the process of decolonisation taking place at the time, the expectation was that the people of Eritrea would be given the right of self-determination. However, this divided society, which was almost evenly split between Muslims and Christians.
I'm just posting the video because it's not mine, even though we've used a lot of his video and I've never had any problem. And I've communicated with him in the past, to talk about the Yoruba nation as well. So we hope that one day he will touch on it. Boyatolo Ibawasi UK DC. I will share the video with him, and he has replied me, and he says, he will look into it. So Boyatolo Ibawasi UK, I can share some of the things back with him. I'm already in communication with him, and we hope that we can be able to do more with him. So now, you can see that every country and every region and every people has different issues. Dispute it. We are not united, different language, different problems, but just the same way, it did not any problem, as we saw with what he was explaining in this video. Division between the Muslims and the Christians. So, ejeka pada sórí video yẹn again.
For the Muslim inhabitants of the country, the aim was independence, or, failing that, a period as a UN trusteeship under British rule. In contrast, for the Christians, the vast majority of which belonged to the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, the clear preference was for union with neighbouring Ethiopia, an option supported by the Ethiopian government, which not only laid historical claim to the area, but also saw it as providing important access to the sea.
Did you get that? Omi, the important access to the sea. Internship power nílẹ̀ Yorùbá nìyẹn. Omi ẹni. The importance of the waterways, the ruga. Ẹni tó bá lomi ló ń gbádùn ayé. Anywhere tí omi bá ti wà, àwọn kan ready láti gbàbẹ̀ kúrò lọ́wọ́ yín. Kí lẹ rò pé àwọn British ṣe dé sí Lagos? Omi yẹn ni wọ́n ṣe lọ dé sí North níjọ́ náà lọ́hùn ní 1861. Ẹ rò pé àwọn Italian tó ní wọ́n lọ síbẹ̀ ní 1808 àbí 1861 ti Britain 1800 ní 1801. Omi yẹn ni because omi gba gbogbo àyíká bẹ̀rẹ̀ náà, the Red Sea. Ìyẹn ló ṣe sọ fún wa pé Mungo Park founded River Niger níbi tó ti ń káàkiri, just like the book I'm reading presently now, Where the Good Ideas Comes From. Ìwé tí mò ń kà lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ ni. Where Good Ideas Come From. The Natural History of Innovation. And I still have this one, The Act of Possibility. And this one, The Origin of Modern Science. For too long. Let us support this platform. There are a few things that I want to do from this platform. Also just to support the upcoming rally. I got to close the screen a little bit. Then I'm going to open something. Sure that the screen is closed. I'll mention names, but for now, let me just conclude the presentation. Kato Madaroko, if not, and to Bangbo, sometimes people get lost in between that. We need your help, we need your support on this platform so that we can, we can do a lot of things. That if you support the upcoming, event, I got along. We don't pray our land is but Feboko, Yoruba nation must come. Yoruba nation is the solution and the final solution. So I've got something that I've prepared, but all these things need a lot of money. And I want to show us the Banika change it. I'm happy to do that. The Baba increase it. We're also happy to do that. Make sure. So let me now bring my screen back up. What you're looking on the screen, you will not see it. It's something that I decided to design, and we can prepare this to be distributed on the day of the rally. There's some other things as well that we might not show you, but I can share this with us. So this will come like a flyer, straightforward, and the other section, Tebari, it says there, Yoruba exit. This man, is not a criminal, he's a freedom fighter, Yoruba nation. Kilerisi, flyer. We need money to now produce it. The more we produce, the cheaper it is. And this is going to be done from the Vista print, which is the one I use. The 5,000 of these is £32.99. If we increase the number, it will be much cheaper as well. Can somebody help us to produce this? Again, this is what it looks like. Is the write-up okay? One year logmon la fi ṣe kíni. Ṣé ká change ẹ̀? Ṣé ká filẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀? Bàbá Akintoye níwájú, Ìgbòho lẹ́yìn. Yoruba exit. Yoruba nation now. Let me know in the comment section, and we'll come back to that later when we open the phone line as well. The cost to produce these together will be less than £50. Tabai increase volume here, see 20,000, which is much of the capacity. That will be £87, including the VAT. The whole total package will be £100. We can do it on this platform, especially in Tetenilewa. 20,000 copies of these. So that Bashin lo níjọ́ yẹn, a máa fún àwọn òyìnbó yẹn. Bashin lo, a máa fún wọn. Kò tó bá wo wájú, wá rí Bàbá Akintoye. Orúkọ wọn wà níbẹ̀. So tó bá lọ sílé, tó bá lọ Google ẹ̀, wá mọ tá à ń sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí. Because not everybody will have the time for them to be explaining to them as we are working from the BBC níjọ́ yẹn. So Tibare and Tobani Koiki, I will take this up. We can do as many. This is what I've been talking about. We are doing this in Nigeria, but let us first do this as well in the UK because we want to communicate to the people on that day. This man, tí gbogbo wọn máa rí tó jẹ́ pé torí ẹ̀ ní gbogbo wa ṣe fẹ́ jáde níjọ́ yẹn àti lórí nǹkan tá à ń ṣe, òun gangan ló fẹ́ pull crowd. So àwọn tó bá ń rí, kò rẹ́ ṣe, àwọn tó ń jà fún freedom fighter, àwọn òyìnbó àtẹ̀ máa ṣe kí nínú wọn máa dùn. A lè kọ pé Yoruba exit, Yoruba nation. Like I said, 20,000 of this leaflet, the total will be just under £100. Let me know in the comment section or when I open the phone line. If I have the money within 3 days, 3 working days, these guys that work around the clock, I've used them in the past for some of my projects. And some of you that doesn't know, let me first be sure what I want to show you. But again, close screen again. And not be know, because I can't show things that might not. But we feel like project I do my business card and other things from there. So let's just give you this to start with, then I'll come back in a minute. This is how we operate. But Nigeria is just not a country that works for anybody. It's unbelievable. So, yeah, I can show you this. Ilé can show me. Báwọn ẹlẹ́nu já wáyà tó mọ̀ mí nígbà tí a ṣì wà ní Ṣàngó Òde. I can show you this one. Ilé ni màá show you. Edit. Some of you think àwa kan wà níṣẹ́ tá à ń ṣe. Okay, all these numbers are no longer in use. Neither do I have. Ibi báyìí lẹ́ni kan ti lọ kọ write up lórí mi àti. Okay, then show screen mi nísìn. This person, àmọ́ tó gbéṣẹ́ yẹn fún wọn. Ẹ jẹ́ kí n yọ. Okay, that's fine. You can still save it. Okay, mo ní láti adjust the camera mi. My video rather. If not, anyway, ẹni ẹ ló kọ átíkù yẹn rẹpẹtẹ. Ó wá lọ mú address ti tẹ́ máa rí. Wíbẹ̀ lèmi àti Ìgbòho àti bàbá Akintoye ibẹ̀ láti pinlẹ̀ Yorùbá nation láti jókòó láti. And I laughed when Oluwole sent that article to me, I think sometime last year. Nigeria lẹ́ni ẹ̀ wà. Lára àwọn tó máa ń sanwó fún náà ni. Ó kọ gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣáàbà. I was just thinking. Mo tẹ̀ tí mo lóye débi pé mo fi mọ bàbá Akintoye ìgbà yẹn. Stupid people. Alright, I can even. Alright, that's fine. Right, that's fine. Okay. Now, what you're looking at in front of you right now on the screen is coming up in a minute because my TV should show in just 2 seconds. Yeah. Ṣé gbogbo eré nǹkan tó kọ síbẹ̀? Kí ló kọ síbẹ̀? Ẹ bá mi kọ sí ní comment section. Mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sẹ́yìn grandma mi. Mo fẹ́ tẹ́ kẹ́ bá mi type ẹ̀ sínú comment section. Kí ni wọ́n kọ sínú business card yẹn? Ẹni tó bá rí nǹkan tó wà ní orí business card yẹn, kí lẹ rí níbẹ̀? That was my business with the work I did and served the community for a very long time. That is Imperial Computer Center and General Store, where I repair and rebuild, reinstall Windows, and also operating system, and a bit of more hardware diagnosis. Itoba leju fumitimba leshe mo expert. I sell brand new computers and I sell second hand. This was the store that I was operating from in London here. But apparently, any call on my address here, lórí social media. I should go on grandma only one Imperial Computer Center and General Store. Ilé iṣẹ́ mi nìyẹn. But ẹ mọ̀ pé social media ó ti kó gbogbo papọ̀. So on your who is who. And I'm proud, like I always say, of what I've done so far in this country. A lot of things we've done, but like I always say, ẹni tó mọ̀ yàn ló máa sọ pé this and that. I have records. That was the business I was operating. And it was not a bankrupt business. We just closed it down to move to something else. But I'll just leave that for now. So, èyí mo fi hàn wá gangan òun ni flyer tí mo ní kí ràn wá lọ́wọ́ lé lórí. Ká lè ṣe kíni, ká lè ṣe. With £100, we will produce 20,000 copies. And that will be ready. Our for October. And time is not there. We need to do all these things, so that we are prepared tí mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo wa pé a máa délẹ̀ lérí mo ní wọ́n mẹ́ntọ́ ń dé pẹ̀lú tẹ bá mẹ́ntẹ́ ń dé pẹ̀lú ni èyí tí ẹ rò pé ìwé mi máa give up tí mo ẹni tẹ́ ń dé pẹ̀lú àwọn tó mọ̀ mí dáadáa mọ̀ èyí tẹ́ ẹ̀ mọ̀ lẹ́yìn sọ pé àwọn lè máa wọlé máa jáde ni a máa bọ́nu wàhálà yìí it's just a matter of when so I'm gonna show us one more time fún ìtẹ̀ bá wo program yìí tán kò bá jẹ́ yàn kódà bá bá ṣe tó pọ̀ gan kò má tà èyí tó bá kù máa mọ bó ṣe máa dé Nàìjíríà but for now we need many to be able to distribute níjọ́ yẹn so that gbogbo èèyàn la máa ha fún gbogbo àwọn tá a bá wà ní orí rally yẹn so that bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń rìn lọ ẹ̀ máa bá wa fún àwọn èèyàn because people need to know why we are out why are you out ẹ bá ti mú ilé wọn lọ́wọ́ because ẹ lè má lè ṣàlàyé púpọ̀ fún wọn. This is why 1914 expired. Time to exit. Where do you want to exit? Nigeria. So bó ṣe jẹ́ nìyẹn. Now let's come back to the final video and then we still have time. We'll open the phone line and then we'll have more discussion. Okay, we'll go lélẹ̀ kan sí.
Able to agree a single course of action, the Commission returned 3 options. The first was the annexation of the territory by Ethiopia. The second was a federation between Ethiopia and Eritrea, and the third was a 10-year period of UN trusteeship leading to independence. On the 2nd of December 1950, the General Assembly passed Resolution 390A.
Eléyìí fáyín tẹ́lẹ̀ ti gba country. Where is the United Nations Assembly resolution? I wonder how the diaspora got caught up in this stupidity. Even Tashin Salahi, they are still there thinking that they have a country. Ní December 2nd, 1950, the General Assembly passed a resolution. So that means pé ẹ̀kọ́ country kò sí any resolution kankan tó pop up at the United Nations. Ẹ má kí Koiki rí document o. I wonder the kind of people that we are dealing with on the other side.
Taking into account the various issues, this recommended that Eritrea, as a single autonomous unit, be federated with Ethiopia. A little under 2 years later, on the 15th of September 1952, Eritrea formally united with Ethiopia to form the Federation of Ethiopia and Eritrea. Almost from the start, it proved to be an unhappy union.
I just want because the our word kan unhappy union. Even pé wọ́n kó gbogbo wọn papọ̀ pókè láti 1950 to 52. They work a General Assembly. Ẹ rántí pé it was Italy ló rán níbẹ̀. Britain ṣe kí ni wọ́n gbà wọn dànù after the Second World War. Britain bá ṣe kà nínú ìwé ìtàn tá ti ń ṣe analysis pé they were able to hold it temporarily, annexed. Ibi tí annex ti jáde nìyẹn ní 1951. Then there was a United Nations resolution. Ẹ̀yẹ́ ti gba country. UN ń wò yín látòkè, but kò sí resolution. UN ló yẹ kó fún yín ní resolution. Tẹ́ máa lọ fi ní ẹ̀fẹ́ gba Ìbàdàn. UN ló máa fún yín ní resolution. Tẹ́ máa ní ẹ̀fẹ́ declare country. But kí lèmi mọ̀? Àwọn lọ́mọ̀ náà. So what the guy said earlier was that the union was láti kó tó join wọn ni. Are we happy in the union today? No, we are not happy. Why should we remain in that union? It's a question that people are asking. And that is why this man says this again.
There is no land called Nigeria. There is no language called Nigeria. There are no people called Nigerians. We are only deceiving ourselves. We are not Nigerian. Okay, where is Nigeria? Where is the land called Nigeria? What is the Nigerian language? We are nations that had been forced together to live in one pathetic country. So anybody who goes there today to say, pray for Nigeria, that person is not deceiving himself because the people who want to be that Nigeria had not sat down to agree if they want to be Nigeria.
It might be no mute desktop audio here, so there might have been a bit of feed coming through. I didn't see that. It might be
Ethiopia, with its long history of independence and far greater in geographical size and population, naturally saw itself as a superior partner in the relationship. Over the course of the following decade, discontent grew in Eritrea, and in September 1961, an uprising was launched against Ethiopian rule by the
uprising. Nǹkan sọ ni pé àwọn kan dìde pa àwọn ọ̀fẹ́ mọ́. When something is uprising, that is exactly the picture of what is happening in Nigeria right now. People are uprising. They're asking questions. And that could lead to anything that nobody knows.
Eritrean Liberation Front, the ELF. In response, on the 2nd of November 1962, Ethiopia formally dissolved the federation, annexed Eritrea, and removed its autonomy.
And that is where Wahala always starts. Often any regional government, and what destroy it. There is a dispute on the land. We are running away from the dispute. We are looking for who will be governor, who will be deputy, who is going to be chairman. When we should be finding a solution to the dispute to our table. Rather, we can what dispute and can resolve it. Olukaluku and wa into son. And when to be the governor, and to manage this, and to manage that. When there is a dispute on the land, and if you see their candidates coming on the comment section, I always ask them, today in the Manberi, Kelibawa fi owó síbẹ̀. Gbogbo ẹni tó bá fẹ́ support lórí flyer yẹn, tí bá rí èèyàn mẹ́ta £300, Adébíbà, Ajẹ́pà ní 60,000 copies. Ẹ rántí pé we're talking about a million match, that means we need many. Ọlọ́run àbúrò wa láṣìírí kò dẹ̀ ní sú wa kò ní rẹwà. Owó la fi ń ṣẹgbẹ́. Ẹ má ẹ̀kẹ́ni kankan sọ fún yín pé wọn ò nídìí owó. Flyer yẹn will go a long way in October.
Over the course of the next decade, fighting took place between Ethiopian forces and ELF guerrillas in what has since become known as the Eritrean War of Independence. However, the situation took a very different turn when...
Now I want us to... Because things wants to turn around. They have been fighting since 1961. Then nígbà tó dé 1950 something, wọ́n ní kó bá wọn parí ẹ̀. There was a UN resolution. Wọ́n ló dá èyí méjèèjì ẹ̀jẹ̀ sì kọ́kọ́ form federation. Nígbà tó yá federation yóò fail because marriage yẹn ò work. Ìyàwó tó bá ti di tipátipá wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ ṣe kí ni. But something wants to change. I don't want you to stand up right now. Mo fẹ́ kẹ́ farabalẹ̀ kẹ́ gbọ́ bíbá. Màá jẹ́ kó flow díẹ̀ kí n tó coming back again. This means that the country wants to become an independent country. After tó ti lọ bí ẹ̀rọ lọ́ta.
On the 12th of September 1974, the Emperor of Ethiopia, Haile Selassie, was overthrown by a Marxist revolution. As Ethiopia now sunk into civil war, the Eritrean independence movement found common cause with Ethiopian anti-government forces.
Something will erupt. Something will kick. Something will push. And Nigeria will start falling apart. Gbogbo tó lè jẹ́ àwọn Shiite ló máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ wàhálà burúkú pẹ̀lú Tinubu. Ó lè jẹ́ àwọn ẹ̀yà kejì. Ó lè jẹ́ this. Ó lè jẹ́ àwọn Niger Delta. Ó lè jẹ́ àwọn tí Tinubu máa lọ tọwọ́ bọ̀ lẹ́sẹ̀. Ó lè jẹ́ Dangote. But Dangote is bitter lọ́wọ́ yìí. Ó fún yín 100 million. Ẹgbàá lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀. Ẹ fún lépo tó máa fi rán ní ilé-iṣẹ́. That means the refinery will be dead. Àṣìgbà tí mo sọ fún ìyàwó mi ní lásìkò Dangote sì máa padà ta refinery ìgbẹ̀yìn ni o. Àṣòtẹ̀sí máa pop up. Last year ni mo sọ pé Dangote ìbọ̀rọ̀ tó fẹ́ ó máa padà tágbàdùn ni. Ó gbowó fún yín ó fún yín $100 million. Ẹ fún ní crude oil. Dangote can also fight back. Anybody can fight. Nigeria is full of hatred that it can explode like that. ìyẹn lọ Ọbásanjọ́ ṣe sọ pé Nigeria is sitting on the keg of gunpowder. But nǹkan kan gbọ́dọ̀ erupt for Yoruba to pull out. Àwa ni wá jókòó pé Koiki ìbò ti sọ pé nǹkan máa erupt pé ìjọ ló máa erupt. We must continue our effort. Kò gbọ́dọ̀ sú wa, kò dẹ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ rẹ̀ wá. Gbogbo ẹni tó ń rí flix yẹn is £25. Ẹ mọ̀ pé weather yẹn máa ti change. Kò yẹ kó máa ti tutù gan tá àríwú ẹ̀rí. But weather máa ti change. Àní sí ní summer. Ó wà padded. Ẹ lè wọ nǹkan mí sínú ẹ̀dẹ̀ gbé yẹn lé lórí. Mo kí gbogbo yín mọ Akin dáadáa since starting wind down. Then the phone after tí bá ti parí fídíò yìí, àwa open phone line. Inú fídíò ilẹ̀ ti máa gbọ́ bí prime minister yẹn tó ṣe fún ní Nobel Award. Let's go straight back into the video. Mo rẹ̀ kí professor tó bá wa ṣe analysis yìí.
This became particularly significant when, in the late 1970s, the ELF split. The new Eritrean People's Liberation Front, EPLF, eventually supplanted the ELF as the main Eritrean resistance movement. More importantly, in the years that followed, it allied with the Tigray People's Liberation Front, the TPLF, which became the largest of Ethiopia's resistance movements. The fighting in Ethiopia and Eritrea continued throughout the 1980s, contributing to the horrific famine that attracted so much worldwide attention. Indeed, it's estimated that in one way or another, the conflict resulted in the deaths of over 1.5 million people.
The man sọ pé 1 million people will die. Ikú ni bọ̀bọ́ ikọ̀ ń sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀ báyìí. Then let's find peace to the dispute. Over 1.5 million people died. Famine. Ogun ò kí bí nǹkan rí tẹ́lẹ̀. So why should we lead that when we can sit in the dispute and talk about it? But Tinubu sá, oya, owó ní báwọn èèyàn tó kù sọ̀rọ̀, owó ní bá Yorùbá náà sọ̀rọ̀, ó dá, no problem. Àwọn Nigerians ní Jagaban ebi pa wá, ó ti fìyà jẹ wá, ó promise wa ní this, ó promise wa ní that. Jagaban ní òun ṣiṣẹ́ lé lórí. So we have multiple phase of issues. Don't pull out nínú Nàìjíríà. Ẹni tẹ́ bí bá dẹ̀ ń pa ẹ̀ awúwa tẹ́yìn gan lè mọ tó lè ṣe. Continue to say I am the problem of Nigeria. Èmi ni problem Nigeria. No problem.
However, by the start of the 1990s, the rebel forces were gaining the upper hand, not least of all because the Ethiopian government's loss of military support following the collapse of the USSR at the end of the Cold War.
Did you see how things started changing from 1971? Ẹni tó ń fún Ethiopia ní support, USSR, àwọn náà ti ní problem for collapse. Ẹni tó bá fún Nàìjíríà ní support, tó sọ pé Nàìjíríà ò ní pín, kí Ọlọ́run ṣèdájọ́ fún ìlú yẹn, kí problem wá síbẹ̀. Èmi ò mọ̀ ìlú tó bá jẹ́ o. Ìlú kan ló ṣe fún Nàìjíríà ní support tí a fi wà nínú Nàìjíríà báyìí. There is still a country or there are countries that are supporting this madness. Gbogbo tìlú yẹn tí àdánwò máa fi dé bá wọn, táwa máa fi lọ. Because that is exactly what played out in Ethiopia. When the USSR collapsed, if you don't think about funding, don't think about don't think about this.
In the last week of May 1991, the forces of the US-backed TPLF, the EPLF and other assorted allies entered Addis Ababa, the capital of...
Did you hear that? Ṣé gbọ́ US níbẹ̀? Ta ló gbọ́ US níbẹ̀ yẹn? Ta ló gbọ́ US? Gbogbo yín ni máa kí. Mo ti kí àmì náà gan ṣe gbogbo yín ni máa kí torí program yìí ó wà serious, the serious program láṣẹ nírọ̀lẹ́. Ta ló gbọ́ a US-backed TFL tàbí àwọn Tigray tó fi wọnú Addis Ababa? Ta ló back àwọn Boko Haram? Ṣé ti rí pé ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá tẹ́ máa ní bàbá Akintoye slow, ó ti slow jù, Ìgbòho ti slow jù. Ẹ wo àti fẹ́ mórí wọ 3 hours. Program yìí ti bá nítorí pé mo tún push ẹ̀ mo tètè fast. Ó dẹ̀ ṣeéṣe kó yẹ pé mo sì máa padà wá ṣe part 2 ẹ̀. nítorí mo lè ṣe jọ́kan kẹ́ ẹ ní understanding ẹ̀ lóòótọ́ wùn èmi náà pé ká ti wà nínú ilẹ̀ wa báyìí but a lot of things ló wà entangled pẹ̀lú ọ̀rọ̀ ìlú burúkú yẹn ó pè Nàìjíríà and if care is not taken tá a bá lọ ṣe slightest mistake tá a lè perfected délẹ̀ tán àwọn náà náwọn ọ̀dàlẹ̀ láàrin wọn láàrin ìgbà tí wọ́n ń jàjà yẹn àwọn ọ̀dàlẹ̀ wà láàrin wọn. So there's a lot to cover lórí pa fi gba country ò kì í ṣe hey Yoruba nation, yes, awareness, campaign, yes, and then money preparation for the worst case scenarios. Weekend lawa. And so far, I'm going to do a sinle, so I can go a little bit over the 3 hours limit. And I'm not tired at the moment. And this will be our third program for the day. At Shikoni, starting at 5 o'clock in the morning for about 2 hours. Mo ṣe 10 minutes or 7 minutes. Ẹni tó rajà ní store tí mo question ẹ̀. And that's the good thing about this country. Ṣé mo kí bàbá yẹn padà wá bá mi pé, are you a content creator? Because he's also happy to talk to me. Even though they exchange the cards, exchange numbers. Because tendency pé máa tún pàdé ẹni bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn tún wà. But gbà tẹ́ pé n tó dẹ̀ ń ṣe kò ń ṣe tó bad, ní tèmi náà ń ṣe ò bad. But Nàìjíríà lọ súnmọ́yàn kó fẹ́ interview ẹ̀ báyìí. Ẹgbẹ́ fún kúrò níwájú mi o. Wọ́n ti sọ wá di tí kò jẹ́ ká jẹ́ àwọn olóṣèlú yìí. And they are happy about it. Ẹ jẹ́ ká parí fídíò yìí ká má ti sọ̀rọ̀ lọ púpọ̀. Torí tá a bá ti parí fídíò yìí then à lè open online. Ẹ̀yin náà lè dá sí gbogbo tí mo ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ látẹ̀ǹkan. Mo kí gbogbo lílẹ̀ kan sí o.
Of Ethiopia and ousted the government. The successful overthrow of the Ethiopian government marked a key moment for Eritrea.
Mo ń sọ fún yín pé wá overthrow Tinubu, and that could also help the Yoruba nation. I will be happy if that is going to be the thing that will lead the Yoruba nation out of Nigeria. Since tí kò fi gbọ́ràn. So look, ẹ̀wọ̀n tó kọ̀ sí gbogbo wa là ń ka script yẹn nísàlẹ̀. The successful overthrow the Ethiopian government marked the key moment for Eritrea independence. Tọ́ba overthrow Tinubu, say go bye bye, au revoir, I care less. A máa padà bọ̀ nílé. Tó bá dẹ̀ pọ̀ máa ní kó wà lẹ́xà mi. Because ó lè jẹ́ gbà tó máa overthrow náà, ó lè máa wà Nàìjíríà. Ó lè ṣe bí ti Gowon tó wà ní OAU event ní Uganda. Orí tí àlọ́ ti sọ fún pé aláyé etí ẹ̀ mélòó bó ṣe wà báyìí ó ń ṣe military dictator kankan mọ́ ọ ti ṣe kù nílé o. Tí bá ti ṣojú òpó gbogbo eléyìí mo fi béèrè mo fi yẹ kẹ́ bá mi dá sí. Ṣé tó bá overthrow Tinubu can mark a key moment àbí kí Tinubu tètè ṣe tó yẹ kó ṣe? That is if he has. Kóìkì jẹ́ kó ṣọdún mẹ́rin tán náà òmùgọ̀. Ìwọ mọ táwọn yẹn plan ni. Ṣé èmi mọ tán plan ni? Èmi ò sínú cabinet wọn mọ táwọn northerners plan fún Tinubu. Èmi náà fi ń tell síbẹ̀ kò tí jáde ní. Àwa náà smell it, àwa náà bí sniffer dog làwa náà lójoojúmọ́. Àwa náà sniff bọ̀ nǹkan kan jáde àgbọ̀n kankan. Because ẹni tó bá fẹ́ ṣiṣẹ́ ibi àwọn náà máa make sure pé wọ́n close network wọn. Àwọn tó bá dẹ̀ fẹ́ ṣiṣẹ́ ibi wọn kì í pọ̀ torí pé kí information yẹn kó má bàa tú síta. I want to know what they plan for Tinubu, but all I know is that wọ́n lè pa Tinubu kó gbórí ẹ̀ padà wá fún wa ní Southwest, and that is something that we do. So what we have been talking about àìtí délẹ̀ o fídíò yẹn kọ̀ kú mo kọ̀ ẹ wo ẹ̀yin náà ẹ wo ẹ má bínú ẹ̀ tẹ́ ẹ wo fóònù lórí kéèké àwọn tá a ní TV ńláńlá báyìí la lè gbádùn ẹ̀ because èmi náà wo 65 inch mi níwájú báyìí and I can see pé etí wọ́n kọ síbẹ̀ yẹn ní translation the successful overthrow of the Ethiopian governor marked the key moment for Eritrea. Ṣáwọn ìyá wa ló máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ wàhálà tó máa mark the key moment? We don't know, but something has to lead. Nǹkan kan gbọ́dọ̀ spark. Nǹkan kan máa spark ẹ má máa sọ pé kó má spark, ó gbọ́dọ̀ spark. In tó máa dẹ̀ spark yẹn kò mí ìpè torí Tinubu ló wà níbẹ̀. We care less because kò gbọ́ràn. Kódà Professor Wọlé Ṣóyínká ní olórí kunkun ní Tinubu. Ṣé kí n mú fídíò yẹn wá fún yín? Ó sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ náà nígbà tó lọ s'Aso Rock. Ó ní olórí kunkun ní. Yorùbá ló fi sọ olórí kunkun. Bí ó wá translated, I don't know. Are you with me? I have been discussing how Eritrea gained their independence after 29 years, 8 months, 4 weeks. Mo ní láti wò yẹn mọ́, ó ti stick story mi. 29 years. So ọmọ Yorùbá tó wà nílé tó ní Koiki onírọ́, òun àti gbowó, irọ́ ti pọ̀ jù. No problem. Àwọn tó parọ́ fún yín, ibo lẹ dé nísìn. Àwọn tó parọ́ fún yín, níbo lẹ wà yìí, diaspora fẹ́ support wọn. Ẹ wà lójú kan, ẹ kúrò lójú kan náà. Ọdún ló ti ń lọ parí. Ọdún lọ sópin o, bàbá rere. Fi iṣẹ́ rẹ̀ ṣọ́ wa o, tọkọtaya àbí tọmọtaya. Ohun tó máa pa mí lẹ́kùn o lọ́dún tuntun. Má jẹ́ kó ṣẹlẹ̀ sí wa o, bàbá rere. Má jẹ́ ọ̀tàn fọ́rọ́, ogun rọ́jú mu rọ́jú jẹ. Ìyẹn tẹ̀ tí wọ́n nulẹ̀ báyìí. Ogun rọ́jú mu rọ́jú jẹ, irọ́ lẹ̀ ń pa, ó ti wà nulẹ̀. Àwọn tó láwọn ti gba country, ẹ wo analysis tá a ṣe látàárọ̀ o. Kẹ́ compare tó láwọn ti gba country, kò sí UN resolution, kò sí anything, wọ́n kàn ní UN camera, ó ń wọ àwọn látòkè. So UN wá ráyè yẹn. So ẹ̀yin wá important kí wọ́n máa gbé camera kí wọ́n máa wò yín látòkè. Ìyá yẹn kàn defraud gbogbo wa. Àwa kan tá wá tètè wá gbọ́n. Àwọn kan tún yẹ Koiki bí wọ́n ló pẹ́ ló tètè sọ fún wa. We all believe that she has something that we can work with. Gbàtà lè rí pé kò ní kankan. Inú bíbà láti polówó ẹ lọ dáwó sínú òmìnira. Wọ́n tẹ̀ ní pé owó òmìnira pọ́n rán sọ́sà àkáǹtì mi. Èmi mọ bó ṣe ń san wọ́n rò ṣé mi àkáǹtì mi lẹ fi sílẹ̀ ni. Because wọ́n ò ní understanding. Làákàyè wọn kúrú gan. Ẹni tó bá dẹ̀ l'exposure ẹ lè compare pẹ̀lú àwàtà l'exposure. Because I have an exposure. A lè má kàwé púpọ̀ but mo l'exposure. So ìyàtọ̀ wà. Ẹ lè wá sórí platform mi nísìnyí. Màá fún yín ní àwọn tẹ máa gbọ́ tẹ̀yìn náà máa sọ pé I've given us every categories of buy. But something with bí ẹ kọ́ tẹ̀ overthrow ní Tinubu kọ́ tẹ̀ mark the part of Nigeria to dey break. Who cares? Ìyẹn mo ṣe ni ẹ má ní sympathy fún Tinubu. We don't need a sympathy of Tinubu. Kódà bọ́ bá gbórí ẹ̀ wá bá wa padà ní Southwest, àásín náà ni, àsìn Abíọ́lá padà náà ni. So ìkò ń ṣe tuntun. Kò dẹ̀ ń ṣèní ni wọ́n ti ń pa àwọn Yorùbá. Ṣèbẹ́yìn bàbá mi gbogbo yín lẹ máa ń send audio sí mi. Bàbá kan list gbogbo àwọn Yorùbá tí wọ́n ti pàdánù. During the bàbá ń ṣe regional government. Ṣé má sọ fún wa pé pé tó bá gbé orí Tinubu wá à padà sí náà ni. Torí òun ni kò gbọ́. Torí àwọn tó ń bá tayò yẹn ó rò pé Lagos lòun ti ń tayò. Kò mọ̀ pé àwọn Fúlàní jihadis bíi ìmọ̀ tí ì fi lọ púpọ̀ ká má lose plot. Ká mo ní sọ̀rọ̀ mọ́ nísìnyí kí bàbá yìí kó sọ̀rọ̀ tán kí n lè ṣe phone line kẹ́yìn náà lè dá sí i. Kẹ́ lè dá sí i.
The successful overthrow of the Ethiopian government marked a key moment for Eritrea. Almost immediately, the EPLF set up a government in Asmara, the capital of Eritrea, and announced that it would hold a referendum on independence. Meanwhile, at the start of July, representatives of over 20 parties and national communities met to discuss the future of Ethiopia. There they agreed that Eritrea could not be forced to remain a part of Ethiopia.
Kò sí bá ṣe máa gbọ́n kan a máa pull back. Mo ti fẹ́ pause látẹ̀ nǹkan ara ń pé kí n pause. But eléyìí tí mo pause yìí, they agree that Eritrea cannot be forced to remain part of Ethiopia against its will. Mo ti ṣí phone line ẹ pè wọlé. Ẹ dá mi dá sọ̀rọ̀ tó wà nílẹ̀. Because people just think that ilé kan máa pariwo ni a máa jà kò ń sọ̀rọ̀ ọjà ọ̀rọ̀ àlàyé ni Ìgbòho ní kò ní ìlàjà ọ̀rọ̀ àlàyé ká ṣàlàyé fúnra wa kó yéra wa. How can you keep people that okay àwọn ẹ̀yà tó kù náà wọ́n fẹ́ lọ agree ìkan náà máa poison wa ìkan náà máa pa wá wọ́n ṣe oríṣiríṣi fún wa wọ́n fẹ́ gbalẹ̀ mọ́ wa lọ́wọ́ then kí lè fẹ́ jẹ́ ká tún jọ wà together ìyẹn ló sì ń yà mí lẹ́nu àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá tó máa ń tí ní ká keep Nàìjíríà wọ́n hate yín bí ìgbẹ́ àwa náà hate wọn like ara wa nífẹ̀ẹ́ ara wa rárá tẹ́bá àní kọ́mẹ́ǹtì tó àwọn nìkan ló wà lórí kọ́mẹ́ǹtì yẹn àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá díẹ̀díẹ̀ tó wà ń bẹ̀ ṣọ́ lọ́tún máa ń tákù wọn látara pé a kò lọ ṣe rálì kékeré tó tẹ̀ ń ṣe rálì door to door awareness lágége tẹ́bá rí àwọn comment bad negative comment but èmi ò care because I know how to deal with them tóró lórí burúkú ni wọ́n ìyẹn làwọn Yorùbá ṣe máa ń sọ pé Kóìkì má bá wọn ṣe rárá má bá wọn ṣe bàbá kan ti ní Kóìkì èmi máa fún ẹ ní £50 láti fi ṣe flyer yẹn kò ní bàjẹ́ fún yín àwọn silent okay àwọn èèyàn ti ń pè wọlé èmi náà mo ní kẹ́ pè wọlé bí tẹ́ bá gbọ́ wọn dáadáa bí need the speaker but speaker yẹn kàn jẹ́ ká gbọ́ tẹ́ bá ń gbé arákùnrin dáadáa ẹ bá mi sọ pé yes nínú comment section ẹ fire on bẹ́ẹ̀ tẹ́ kí mi ẹ fire on torí ara ń kan orí kálukú ni tẹ́ bá kí mi fine tẹ́ bá kí mi kò mátà ẹ gbóhùn sókè máa sọ̀rọ̀ lọ.
so ẹ jẹ́ kí n kọ́kọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ pẹ̀lú ọ̀rọ̀ ṣé gbogbo ẹni tó wà ní àbúrò tó wà ní àdúrà tó jẹ́ UK bó jẹ́ Amẹ́ríkà bó jẹ́ Canada tó ti kọ́ ọmọ ẹ̀ kúrò Nàìjíríà tó yẹ kó pé ká ṣe keep on Nàìjíríà ìṣòro tó máa dé bá tó wàá fi padà wá bá Nàìjíríà ló àjẹ kó dé bá òun náà bá Nàìjíríà òun náà máa òkú náà wà ní Nàìjíríà kó wá wò táwọn èèyàn fèsì ṣé ní Nàìjíríà táwa yìí ẹyẹ ò ké bí eku ké bí ẹyẹ ọmọ èèyàn kò fọ́ òbí ọmọ ènìyàn Nàìjíríà táwa yìí. So come back to analysis tẹ́ ẹ̀ ń ṣe látàárọ̀ nípa Eritrea àti Ethiopia.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni sá.
You can't support people to stay together by force. People said they want to leave. The Yoruba said they want to leave. The Yoruba said they want to leave. Why can't they give us referendum and let us everybody go in separate way? It is simple as ABC. Tẹ́bá wù kó tó ń bíò ilé làwa wà. Tẹ́bá wù kó tó ń bíò ní about láti ìgbà tí Tinubu ti wọlé. Ẹ wo NIADG tó resign tó rọ́fà wọ̀nyàn pé ní family issue ni. Ṣé àwọn family issue resign? There is something tó ń build ní north. Àdúrà ìpínpín nǹkan tó ń build yẹn kó ètò build pàápàá táyé wọ́n fẹ́ ṣe kú náà ni wọ́n ní ti ṣe. Wọ́n ti kú yẹn òtítì tí ò lè yá ní pé because even among the generals gan nǹkan tó bá ṣe kú who wants to lead? No tribe wants to lead. So Nigeria has got to the stage of pé kò work mọ́ and it can never work. We are just trying to patch it out tọ́ra wa ní from state to state à ń tọ́ra wa. So now I'm keep on saying in this one Tinubu might be the last president of this country called Nigeria. And their handwriting is written all over the world. Ṣùgbọ́n pàtó yín náà ti sọ̀rọ̀ sọ́kọ́ pàtó yín náà ti ń pariwo pé Nigeria is sitting at keg of gunpowder. Wọ́n ló ṣe ìdáná ń pariwo, everybody ń pariwo. 3 weeks ago, àbí 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, or any this month, tó fẹ́ end náà ni former UN Commonwealth Secretary General ọba tó ń pariwo constitutional agreement. So everybody have now seen the light. But they are just beating around the bush to say nobody, this country don't want to stay together anymore.
Thank you so much.
But we definitely explode. But that spark, the body is spark that will just come and spark everything. Because a lot is going on in the country.
Okay.
Nobody is happy. Concerned about everybody just frustrated.
Okay.
Buying the fuel at the rate of 1,000 naira.
Sure.
At the rate of 1,000 naira.
Hey.
Nigeria even got about 3 days ago. Ajala document news in Nigeria people are dying of hunger strike. The North, he used Borno State as a case study. Turning out people are dying of hunger, over 25 million people. And I said that. So when you are talking about the northern people that they are dying of hunger, what about we in the south? So everything is under the protest. People are dying. People are falling down because of hunger. Yoruba don't need shame on you. You're working baby. People don't have shame anymore. People are begging for food. They are begging for anything. Because Yoruba is not a beggar. We are not a beggar. It's not in our tribe. It's not in our gene. We have pride.
Oh, wow.
We don't beg. Now people are begging. People are putting pride by the side. Business, small scale businesses collapsing. Business they don't survive. So just small scale. Nothing is working. Nothing. It's so give you a way. What that you do? It's not go into full-scale war. Full-scale war company, no. Because this is war already. This is war. We are just seeing ourselves. Nigeria is in. We are in the world station. Because what you do, I think my people money. That's why we get one. Very much so. There is a war going on.
Ọlọ́run máa ṣàánú àwọn èèyàn wá ń lé o. A máa ń kégbe tó lójúmọ́ o.
You are going close to 8,000, 9,000 naira. Just we can take family size there.
Okay.
So the hunger strike in the land and everything that is going on, and according to it's going to get worse by next year.
Okay.
It's going to get worse. Where get worse? Where people will get sense? I don't know why people don't want to get sense. I keep on telling them that what will make them to get sense? They have to take 5,000 naira, but they will get sense.
Okay.
People don't want to get sense. People are let's support this, but some idiots are still supporting this useless because of maybe they are tribal bigots. I don't know. I don't know they are gay.
Okay.
You see that the people that are there, you can't work freely. That is why I said people in the supporting people in the diaspora supporting this country, this one Nigeria, and they are all the family model. I know what you know, and you are there over there supporting keeping one Nigeria. Ìṣòro tó máa dé bá àwọn ìwé yàgbọ́n máa ní kò wọ́n ti dé dáhùn àfi àdàràpà ìwé kó máa tó kó máa tálákà táwọn sọ àpẹẹrẹpà nínú Nàìjíríà yìí táwọn náà máa wà nínú ẹ̀. So they will have sense. Ìṣòro yẹn á dé bá tó wá ṣe contact máa support one Nigeria.
Thank you so much. Well, that is the first caller. Ẹ jẹ́ kọ́kọ́ dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ brother mi bàbá wa tí wọ́n ní Koiki mo ti send £50. Tábàárẹ̀ ni bá fún wa náà another £50. Lórí show yìí nísìnyí máa sanwó 20,000 flyers. Tábàárẹ̀ ti deliver máa fi wọ̀n wá. So a ti rí £50. A kàn ní dìde another £50 kó lè jẹ́ 20,000. Ẹ jẹ́ ká gbé the next caller. Ká wo angle tó fi ti bá wa sọ̀rọ̀. Lórí tí kò pè. Lórí tí kò wá jẹ́ kí n pìkẹ̀. Ló ṣẹlẹ̀ kẹ́. Ẹ jẹ́ ká try number yẹn padà. Mo ń bọ̀ King of Germany. Ẹ jẹ́ kọ́kọ́ lọ sọ́dọ̀ King of Germany. Màá wá lọ sọ́dọ̀ Bishop. Analysis Eritrea yìí, báwo lẹ̀yin ṣe rí sí? Ó sì kù the last part of the video bá máa play. Mo fẹ́ gba brief àwọn èèyàn wa. Kí lẹ̀yin náà rí sí ibi tí mo bá ṣẹ́ dé láti gbé wá fẹ̀yìn ọmọ Yorùbá. Ẹ gbọ́n sókè King of Germany.
Bàbá.
Sir.
Ṣé ìdílé ń ṣe ọ̀nà ìparọ́ mi? Táwọn àìsí ìgbọ́n mo sọ pé last week ní táwọn àìsí ìgbọ́n pé ara wọn ò dé ìbalẹ̀. Ara wọn ò dé ìbalẹ̀ rárá. Ṣé ní gbogbo àwọn olóògbé orí tó wọ́n mú fẹ́ jọ wa?
Ẹ ṣáà máa sọ̀rọ̀ lọ́tí wọ́n sì.
Mo kàn tẹ́ pé ó ń sọ̀rọ̀ kékeré ní ìjẹta ọ̀ọ́dúnrún àpé wẹ́nẹ̀dẹ̀ ló ń sọ̀rọ̀ kékeré kan. Nínú ibi mi ni mo jẹ pé ní gbàgbọ́ àgbè ó ń sọ̀rọ̀ pa ìgbésẹ̀ èèyàn àti sọ́ọ́lì ìgbòho wá òwe orí máa mi lórí ẹ̀ náà. Ó dẹ̀ ti gba kọ́ńtì, ó dẹ̀ ti ṣe kìíní kan, ó dẹ̀ rí bí wọ́n ṣe ń lọ ní ìlú ẹ̀. Ó dẹ̀ pé nìyẹn ọba bẹ̀rẹ̀ pé iṣẹ́ gbogbo wọn ló gbọ́dọ̀ lé lọ sí gbogbo àwọn gbogbo nígbà tí èèyàn kì í ṣe ọlọ́dì orí tó dùn lòun fọ́ ojú lòun fọ́ àti everybody tí mo ń gbọ́ pé everybody ti torí òótọ́ àwọn tó ń ṣe ti ti Yorùbá nation àwọn tó ń ṣe ti fake everybody ti rí àwọn àmọ́ ibi tá à ń lọ àwọn tá à ń lọ pé ló máa bọ́ sí ìkọ̀ àmọ́ táǹkì àmọ́ táǹkì mo lè gba àdúrà gbogbo lọ́sàn lórí tẹ̀ jáde Ọlọ́run máa fún ìlú fún àgbà ní àgbàdo Ọlọ́run ẹ̀yin gbìyànjú ní sábò yìí àti táwọn àìsí ìrì àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ ọ̀bí tó fún wa ní YouTube tó fún wa láàlájì àwọn máa wáyé káàkiri àwọn máa wáyé káàkiri táwọn àìsí ìrì ara ò tí ìyá àti ìwà òkè nítorí ìdí nìkan Ọlọ́run fún ìlú fún agbára ẹ̀kọ́ ẹgbẹ́rún Ọlọ́run àti ìgbà lọ́sàtà
àmì Jésù ẹ ṣé gan ni sà mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín o ẹ̀yin náà ni ẹ̀yin nigi lẹ́yìn wa láàfin lè ṣubú ẹ ṣé gan ni king of Germany bàbá wa tí fún wa ní £50 mo kí dizzy man gbogbo iná la máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí kí nísìn ẹ jẹ́ ká wá gbé Bishop Adesina àwọn máa tó bá wa lọ sínú the angle tèmi ò lè lọ nígbà tí ọba ń bá wa ṣàlàyé lórí ìrìn àjò tí a bá ṣẹ́ dé yìí ẹgbọ́n sókè alàgbà wa Bishop Adesina gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá ń gbọ́ yín Ethiopia ó ní spiritual intake mo mọ̀ pé ilé sọ̀rọ̀ lọ sáwọn area yẹn èmi kàn sọ tèmi briefly lórí independent wọn ni ọ̀ ẹgbọ́n sókè bàbá mi Bishop Adesina.
ẹ ṣe ẹkọ ìkẹ ẹkọ iṣẹ́ God bless you.
Amen.
Àti spiritual o gbogbo ẹ ti hàn kedere ní physical gbogbo spiritual ti parí iṣẹ́ physical ni ó wá ń demonstrate ẹ̀ báyìí so àwọn ọ̀yọ̀gbọ́n kàn láti máa wòye ni tẹ́ bá wo lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí nísìnyí Tinubu mọ̀ pé òun ti fi iná sí orí òrùlé sùn báyìí àwọn olórí ẹni tó fi ṣe army ọmọ Middle tàbí kinní kan ní máa yẹn ó ṣáájú orúkọ Fúlàní báyìí lẹ́mọ̀ pé àwọn Middle yẹn náà mix. Now ó ti lọ sí Niger Republic wọ́n ti lọ sign treaty agreement pẹ̀lú àwọn military wọn níbẹ̀ fún ìrànlọ́wọ́ láti kọ́ ọmọ ogun wọlé. Now tẹ́ bá rí gbà tó ń ṣe protest yẹn àwọn northerner yẹn wọ́n ń wave flag Russia àwọn ọmọ yẹn wọ́n ní kinní kan tó ń jó lórí omi ó nílò ẹ̀ wà nísàlẹ̀ wọn ò parọ́ o òun ló play out yẹn táwọn ọ̀dọ́ military ti lọ sign ẹ̀dẹ̀ wọn pé Russia ń bá kí Niger. Now ohun tó máa fọ́ Nàìjíríà like a machine ni ó ti ń operate ó dàbí machine tí ò ní kọ́kọ́rọ́ tó máa fi kinní tó máa kọ́kọ́ yí wíìlì ẹ̀ kẹ̀kẹ́ tẹ́ bá ti yọ wíìlì ẹ̀ báyà kọ́ máa rò lọ kí ló máa ń pè autopilot ó kọ́ máa rò lọ ni ó ti ṣe kẹ̀kẹ́ báyìí tẹ̀lé táwọn ọmọ Biafra bá ti declare ní December wọ́n ṣe sọ yẹn gbàgà autopilot ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ nìyẹn àdá Yorùbá fẹ́ o Yorùbá ò fẹ́ o it is now our decision to defend our territory Nigeria máa pín àwọn yẹn máa ra ẹ̀pọ̀ Tinubu báyìí ẹ máa wò náà èmi ò ní sọ nǹkan tó fẹ́ ṣe fún but military ò ní gbàjọba torí wọ́n mọ implication ẹ̀ but military ló máa ṣiṣẹ́ yẹn Nigeria will be without a leader. Tó yẹ yín.
Àgbọ̀yé sà.
Bóyá ó máa kidnap ẹ̀ ní o mo ní èmi ò jẹ́ bóyá ó máa ṣe anything o èmi ò mọ̀ o I don't have but wọn ò ní pa ẹ mọ bó ṣe mú Nnamdi Kanu sílẹ̀.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni sà.
wọ́n fẹ́ fi negotiate ni. Wọ́n ti mọ̀ wípé Yorùbá náà máa lọ. Àwọn Fúlàní lókè náà, àwọn náà fẹ́ lọ. Àwọn náà fẹ́ lọ. Gbogbo area Nàìjíríà ló fẹ́ pín. But àwọn institution Nàìjíríà tó di pé pín yẹn, wọ́n wá àwọn tó máa mú fi negotiate. Òun náà ṣe ń wá bàbá wa Chief Sunday Igboho. Ọlọ́run ti ra ẹ̀mí wọn padà. Wọ́n ti escape orúkọ ti kúrò bẹ́ẹ̀. Now ní ẹ̀ha ti Yorùbá, so wọ́n ti ta orí sọ ẹni tó ń rúlù by president. So tí kinní yẹn bá ti lè bẹ́ẹ̀ sképe tó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀, àwọn ló máa protect Tinubu fúnra wọn. Tó bá ti tákòókò ara wọn ká àwọn Biafra sọ pé ó ti lọ ni àwọn ló máa gbé Tinubu fúnra wọn. So Yorùbá ló máa pariwo nígbà yẹn, gbogbo àjọ máa pariwo pọ̀. So wọ́n á lè rí èèyàn fi negotiate fún Yorùbá àtẹ̀yìn tó fẹ́ fi negotiate fún ilẹ̀ Igbo. Ẹ mọ̀ wọ́n ní interest nínú access to the sea. Because tobacco break lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn, àwọn they are off the sea. A lè decide wípé a ní nǹkan ṣe pẹ̀lú wọn for the next 100 years. Ibo náà ti ibo ní port wo náà máa lò. So wọ́n láti rí ibi kan tó lè ti ra wá múlẹ̀ pọ̀ tá a máa fi negotiate wípé òkè ẹ̀ ń lọ kò sí wàhálà. But báwo lájọ máa ṣe pọ̀? Àwọn bá fẹ́ gbé nǹkan wọlé láti ọ̀dọ̀ yìí. Tó bá ń tà ní 15 naira. Tó máa ń ta 15 naira nígbà tẹ́tí mọ̀ pé àjọ ti wà tẹ́lẹ̀ iṣẹ́ ẹ lè fún àwa ní 30 naira nígbà àtijọ́ wa kàníkà náà lè jọ̀wọ́ ẹbí balẹ̀ fún yín. So gbogbo area tí wọ́n jọ ń rally round ìwò nìyẹn now but Tinubu ò dákan mọ̀ for now ibi tó ń wò politics 2027 ló tó ń wò àwọn dẹ̀ ti padà lẹ́yìn ẹ̀ ó dídí Fúlàní mẹ́ta tó gbé sípò intelligence wọ́n rí design kúrò lójú ẹ̀ kò is insensitive kò mọ nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ kò understand kò mọ nǹkan tó nígbà tí àwọn Palestine tó fẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ wàhálà pẹ̀lú Israel gbogbo ọjọ́ wà together ní ọjọ́ wà in government ọjọ́ ìjọba àpapọ̀ ni àwọn indigenous àwọn tribe yẹn gbogbogbò. Without doing anything, publicly resign out of the public office in Israel. President Israel, Prime Minister Israel nígbà yẹn, òun náà ó wo òun tètè wà ìtẹ́lẹ̀, ó wò pé kí ló fẹ́ ṣẹlẹ̀, so ó wá ó lóun kò ṣùgbọ́n dàbí pé àwọn ẹni wá kóra wọn jọ wọ́n ti ń ṣe protest as a Palestine kò tí ì lè gan bá ìgbà àwọn ẹni wá kóra wọn jọ wọ́n wá decide wọ́n wá ní pé òun máa sign Gaza àkọ́ fún wọn pé tó wà sign Gaza àkọ́ fún wọn tó wá fẹ́ ní òmìnira kan lọ lómìnira káwọn dẹ̀ fi àwọn lẹ̀ so àwọn Palestinian ẹ wá kú dà nígbà yẹn it was after that time ní one of the Israeli citizens, almost 16 years old, to shoot the prime minister and gun her down. So then another prime minister now came in, who now cancelled that ratification agreement. Tony like pé òun ò gbà, òun làwọn Palestinians ṣe wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ wàhálà pẹ̀lú wọn tó ń bọ̀m̀bù tó ń gbé kí ló ti ń pè àjò olóró sára tọrùn náà fi ń bọ̀ tí wàhálà fi ń wà bẹ́ẹ̀. That is just a simple narration. Tinubu supposed to be sensitive. There's something in the north now. And he can negotiate us to be divided peacefully. Kì í ṣe pé Yorùbá àti Igbo nìkan ló fẹ́ lọ, àwọn Fúlàní náà fẹ́ lọ. They just a way of negotiating these routes is what they because kì í ṣe nǹkan tẹ́ ọkọ̀ lè sọ síta can come out and just say, no, Oshin come there. But he is not sensitive enough. So, tó bá jẹ́ ti là tí ò bá jẹ́ ti ṣí bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn ló jẹ́ pé politics nǹkan tó ń jẹ nìkan ló ní bó ṣe ń gbogbo ẹ̀ máa bẹ́ ẹ̀mbà àánú àwọn ti bí ti lọ prepare wọ́n ti lọ ṣe alliance pẹ̀lú Niger wọ́n ti sign treaty already. So kò sí ìparí ohun gbogbo ọlọ́mú máa dánmú ìyá ẹ̀gbẹ́ àdìhẹ́ẹ̀dì náà ní so Yorùbá ní ká prepare to defend our region, to defend ourselves. Thank you.
So, ẹ ṣé gan ni, that was Bishop, lórí àlàyé tí wọ́n ṣe fún wa. Èwo lẹ́yìn náà fẹ́ bá wa dá sí ọ̀rọ̀ náà, mo kí ó bàbá wa Bishop, ẹ bá tún láǹfààní àti fẹ́ dá sí. Nọ́mbà tẹ́ máa pè òun ló wà lórí screen yẹn fún ẹ̀yin tẹ́ sí lórí screen. The number is +44 74 044 05917. Ó dà pé èèyàn kan send the request. Okay, ẹni ẹ ti lọ. We have talked about the analysis, but mo fẹ́ jẹ́ ká kọ́ gbọ̀ntàn délẹ̀ the final part of that particular intan gbọ́lọ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀ yẹn. So ẹ jẹ́ ká gbọ̀ntàn just the final part lọ́dọ̀ Professor James K. Lindsay. Let's listen to that, and then after that we'll come back again. Mo kí gbogbo wa lórí ìjókòó.
Ethiopia against its will. Just days after the new Ethiopian administration accepted Eritrea's right to secede, the EPLF proclaimed Eritrea's independence and announced that it would hold a referendum. The following year, the UN General Assembly passed Resolution 47/114, authorising the establishment of a UN mission to verify that referendum. Between the 23rd and the 25th of April 1993, the people of Eritrea went to the polls to vote on statehood. With a 98.5% turnout, the result was never in doubt. A massive 99.83% voted in favour of independence. Indeed, while 1.1 million people voted for statehood, just 1,822 voted against independence. Just over a month later, on the 28th of May 1993, Eritrea was admitted as the 183rd member.
Ṣẹ́rí ìdí tá a ṣe ń sọ fẹ́yìn tẹ́ wà ń lé pé ọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá nation it will happen, but ẹ má yẹ kíyàn kan sọ fún yín pé no kò lè ṣẹlẹ̀ nígbà wo ló máa ṣẹlẹ̀ àti dúró títí àti rí gbogbo analysis tí bàbá yìí dábọ̀ látẹ̀ǹkan. Eritrea became a country in 1993 nígbà táwa fẹ́ lọ dìbò MKO Abiola. MKO wá wọlé, wọ́n bà ìbò yẹn jẹ́, then kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀? We end up saying that we now want to have our own democracy. Ó fún wa ní democracy tí làwọn olóṣèlú tí wá di criminal mọ́ wa lọ́wọ́. Àwọn kan nínú now let's go back to the regional government. So what this man has been telling us, but president wọn or prime minister làwọn lò, ẹ gbọ́ reason tí wọ́n ṣe ń dúpẹ́ fún. Let's go back to the video one more time. Once again, this is Koiki Media bringing the world closer and closer to your doorstep. This is what we do here. We discuss the Yoruba self-determination àti àwọn ọ̀nà wo la fẹ́ fi kúrò nínú Nàìjíríà. And that is the reason why people love this platform, because the analysis is deep and your contribution on the platform is also very, very important.
Member of the United Nations. As a postscript to the story, despite the good terms of the initial decision to separate, relations between Eritrea and Ethiopia have been anything but peaceful since then. In May 1998, just 5 years after Eritrea became independent, it went to war with Ethiopia over a disputed border. The conflict lasted 2 years until a ceasefire was called in June 2000. This dispute was finally resolved almost 2 decades later in 2018, when Ethiopia and Eritrea signed a peace agreement on Ethiopia's initiative. Indeed, for this, Abiy Ahmed Ali, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, was actually awarded the 2019 Nobel Peace Prize. As the citation noted, it was given to him for his efforts to achieve.
I'm going to remove all these banners because mo fẹ́ kẹ́ rí why we are saying that Yoruba ṣé Tinubu náà lè allow kọ́pọ̀ òun ní Nobel Award, and that is why the topic that I choose this evening ni mo fi sọ pé mo ń bọ̀, I just want to adjust all the banners that I have so that mo fẹ́ ká rí the Muki Bishop, Muki, the first caller as well. Now, I think I need to push a little bit more out. Yeah, out a little bit. It might be because we do the adjustment before we send it out. Jeka reduce the delay now. Yeah. Now, Abiy Ahmed, Prime Minister Ethiopia, born 15th of August 1976. Is a prize motivation for his effort ìgbìyànjú ẹ̀ to achieve peace láti jẹ́ kí mo wá meaning peace ní Yorùbá kí nǹkan kó má bàjẹ́, an international cooperation, and in particular for his decisive initiative to resolve the border conflict with the neighboring Eritrea. Ṣé Tinubu náà máa lè ṣe the same thing? Ṣé Tinubu náà á lè gbìyànjú láti jẹ́ kí òmìnira peace kó wà, as we know today that there is no peace in the land. Let's finish the last section. 12 minutes ní fídíò yẹn àti gbọ́dé 10 minutes. So it's just about 2 minutes left.
Peace and international cooperation, and in particular for his decisive initiative to resolve the border conflict with neighbouring Eritrea. Eritrea's independence from Ethiopia is one of the most interesting cases of secession in the modern era. As a relatively early case of decolonisation, it's an interesting case where the decision on what to do was not made by the people in question. Instead, it was the UN that decided Eritrea's fate, establishing a federation with Ethiopia, even though this went against the stated wishes of half the population and was quite obviously an unequal relationship. However, it was the process of its independence that really stands out. In a previous video, I discussed the case of Bangladesh's independence from Pakistan and noted that this is the only case of unilateral secession leading to full UN membership since 1945. However, many also suggested that Eritrea can be considered a case of unilateral secession. In fact, as I've shown, it isn't. To be sure, its decision to break away was vehemently and violently opposed by successive Ethiopian regimes, first under the imperial rule of Emperor Haile Selassie, and then by the communist regime that overthrew him. However, in the end, its independence was achieved with the full support of the Ethiopian government.
That is where we're going to wind it down from this video. Would the Nigerian government allow also a full support of the independent of the Yorubas and those that want to exit out of the union? Because that is exactly what led to the independence of the Eritrea. However, in the end, its independence was achieved with the full support of the Ethiopian government. If we don't push Tinubu, maybe, but I don't know. So that is about from that particular side of the discussion. We can now come back into the final part. If I don't see any more calls, I will call it a day, since we've done our 3 hours as we do on this platform. It's exactly 18 minutes back. But let me appreciate every one of you that have joined us in the 3 hours, because àti jókòó gan kò easy. Kàmá ìtẹ̀tí sọ ẹ̀yin náà tẹ̀ ń gbọ́ wa láàrin ẹ̀ olúkàlùkù náà ṣe one or two things. So it's a Saturday. We appreciate your time spent with us on this platform. So I'm going to go as far back to first pick some of your comments and see whether you're still there or not. Mr. Michael, Fashoyin Olakunle Mukia brother mi dada. And you went further to say, God bless Oloye Sunday Igboho. Mo kí àwọn Koiki Media team, Mr. Additional or Bishop Additional Adeyemo mo kí yín sir. Sunky, good evening to you. Bàbá wa Kúnlé Shita, Triple DRS, báwo ni gbogbo Woolwich? Ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ tí mo rà gan sẹ̀, ọ̀ tí ì dín. Ṣé nìyá ìdẹ́ẹ̀dọ̀ tọ́jú ẹ̀ pamọ́ ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ tí wọ́n gan ní UK? I don't know what's going on. Mo kí mọ́mì mi Abọ́sẹ̀dé Rachel, ẹ ṣé gan ni, wọ́n ní ẹ kú ètò Ọ̀gbẹ́ni Koiki, èmi náà ti di Ọ̀gbẹ́ni Bobby. Daniel Adeyemi mo kí yín, Tony Ages was the first person that gave us money towards the flag. And like I said, we're collating the money. As we have it ready, I will start the production. But the one I showed us, if we have anybody that can also support with the £50, so like in your contact, if you send £50, we have the £100. I'll make the payment now. If otherwise, if I have to make payments in, if I have the £100, it will give us 20,000, and we will have it ready to distribute on the day of the rally, middle Saturday, the 12th. So Moki, Mr. Tony Ages, Pat Lizzie, thank you for joining us. Neck Tech Electrical, Moki Omobolaji Abdullahi, I will reach out to you. I promise you that. Moki da banki awatomo. Bolobe Moki Okewo Taiwo, Wasiu Taiwo, Mori Baba wa Rich Jinodu, and put lossy bishe. Moki brother me easy. Yeah, Aziz Bade Shere, confirm Aziz Made London, at Barali Dumari, Lomba Shode, in October, Adamawa Pololoye Gowoni. Moki Mr. Boye Lagba Boye Galagba to fight. If you can't make it for the rally from abroad, I'm sure Oluye at some point, like I said, will be in America, and it will also be in other European countries. But the UK is important because not just over his birthday, it also coincides with so many things happening right now in Nigeria. Just reading saying, I believe the Eritrea was separated from Ethiopia deliberately to segregate the colonialists and the uncolonized Ethiopian region. They might do everything to prevent the Yorubas from owning the Lagos Island. Though divide and conquer approach, the earlier we stamp our foot down, the better. But passing gbe foot lé làwọn kan ní ká yọ kúrò. Mo ń bọ̀ wá kí ìyá wa Dúpẹ́ Agboola, àwọn tó wà lórí YouTube Koiki Media ni mo ṣì ń kí lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́. Gbogbo yín náà ni máa kí. I am not in a rush because ẹ̀yin lẹ́ni platform. My job is to go out and find what we can talk about and link it with Yoruba Nation. For every day I do this, maybe somebody out there, tó ṣì ń rò pé Nigeria has expired. Àlàyé. Mo kí ìyàwó Elizabeth Adesonya. One good evening to you, Olakunle and Odeki Omobolaji Abdullahi. Just reason say by play, Dangote Refinery, they resemble Ajaokuta steel rolling mills. Sure. Because if you don't have the crude oil, bóyá lè máa rà ní Tasha or àwọn country tó lè máa ṣe láti okay? Yeah. Did you miss me? Yeah. Good boy. I'll soon finish, okay? Mo kí lẹ́ǹkan sí Bishop Adesina. Mo kí mọ́mísí mi náà tí àwọn náà darapọ̀ mọ́ wa. Ẹ bá ń kí gbogbo àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ yìí. My mom also have a lot of her friends that will come in for the rally and also for the dinner. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo èyí tí kódà dádì wa kan àti ìfisàlàyé the other person here very sensitive. What is àwọn náà ti rà they are not, the money is not for me. It is meant for the purpose of the event. It's a gathering at a beautiful place known as the Kensington. And I hope I pronounced it very well. Let me bring the flyer out. Ẹ máa rántí pé a máa jẹ dínà kò ń ṣe pé ẹ̀kọ́ ń bọ̀ lásán pé ẹ fi wá rí olóyè àwọn kan ní kò tẹ̀ ń ṣọ̀rọ̀ pé dínà pé kí tẹ̀ wá láàárín ibi tó lóyè náà máa wà. Lóòótọ́ kò ń ṣe gbogbo èèyàn ló máa lè fitting láti wà níbẹ̀. Ticket ṣì wà fáwọn tó wà concern tàbí àti ta ticket ṣì wà. But ní rally, Olóyè will be able to fill every one of us on the day of the rally. But the dinner will be held at the London Kensington. A plot journey yẹn èyí tẹ́ pé wá. Only free parking is motorable, is accessible, gbogbo ẹ̀ ló wà ń bẹ̀. Bọ́ọ̀sì gbé yín débẹ̀, ẹ dẹ̀ máa wọ Uber lọ́lé, àwọn ọmọ yín lè já yín síbẹ̀, kọ́ dẹ̀ wá gbé yín padà lọ́wọ́ bíi 12 so that kí gbogbo lè lọ sùn. By 10 o'clock, a fi máa dé rally ground, olóyè náà ti wà níwájú BBC where we will push everything. Mo kí gbogbo àwọn èèyàn wa from Sister Book, everybody that is doing everything, making sure that this can happen. It is not about me, I am only playing my role. So Oloye will be with us for the dinner, and as everybody will be going home to sleep, we will then be coming back out for that event that is the reason why Oloye is coming to the UK. What event are we talking about? That massive event, which is the Yoruba Nation rally in London. Inú ẹ̀ náà la ṣe sọ pé ẹ ràn wá lọ́wọ́ ká lè ṣe leaflet èyí tí mo fi wọ̀n wá. Koiki àrí leaflet tó fi wọ̀n wá o. Á gbé wa ní múgùn o. Mo mọ̀ pé ẹni sọ bẹ́ẹ̀. Àwọn ìyá wa kejì ló máa ń sọ bẹ́ẹ̀. Because they can't understand anything because they keep phantoming that they have a country and I keep telling them you don't have any jack shit country. Because Nigeria ni Tinubu ṣì ń bá wa operate lórílẹ̀ Yorùbá. And ọlọ́pàá Nàìjíríà ló wà níbẹ̀. Èmi dẹ̀ sì bá DSS sọ̀rọ̀. So èmi ò mọ̀ bí tẹ́ ti wá rí country ti yín. So in case you have not seen the flyer tí a fi wọ̀n lẹ́ẹ̀kan, flyer yẹn lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí. So iwájú àtẹ̀yìn ni, iwájú ni bàbá Akintoye, ẹ̀yìn ni bàbá Ìgbòho Òòṣà. And what does the flyer say? Yoruba exit. This man tí àwọn èèyàn máa rí, àwọn òyìnbó máa rí. Àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ wa, òyìnbó máa lọ kódà lórí fóònù wọn ló ti máa gbé sí Google pé Ìgbòho, then tó bá ti rí Yoruba exit. Yoruba Nation is not a criminal. Then the other part, wari 1914 as 1914 expired. Yoruba Nation march again. A fi lọ march ní àjà. Àgbékùmọ̀ dání. Mo ń bọ̀ wá kí bàbá mi Tajudeen Ọlárẹ̀wájú. Time to exit. Like I said, ìyàn kan ti fún wa ní £50 right on the show. All we need is another £50. We will be able to. I will buy it tonight at 20,000 leaflets to be distributed on the day at £100. Tabari £200, that's 40,000. £300, that's 60,000. Triple DRS of Koiki, I want to donate 25 for the flyers. Should I put it in the Kofi? No. FPC, well, I think the Kofi comes through the PayPal. That's fine. I'll pick it from there. So we have £75 as I speak to us right now. So Taluma Kwani, the last 25, Kadilade Pilale at least the £100. Láti fi ṣe flyer, and if anything comes up again, flyer iná la máa fi ṣe, because a gbọ́dọ̀ pín leaflet, a máa gbé ẹ̀yin náà lẹ máa bá wa pín, torí mi máa busy níjọ́ yẹn, because people that brother mi kan náà ti pè mí, oníyà lámì ní Manchester, ó ní nígbà tí mo ní ṣé ò ń bọ̀, ó ní Koiki má máa sọ fún mi pé ṣé mo ń bọ̀, ó ti gbàgbé pé mo ń ṣe orin fólóyè, èlò ló pe dínà, ó ti sanwó, ó náà máa wà ní rally, gbogbo wa pátá ta bá ní fóònù ta máa mú dání níjọ́ yẹn. Bẹ́ẹ̀ bá mọ life ṣe, ẹ gbọ́dọ̀ go live. Gbogbo wa la máa go live. Every one of us will be live on our program, on our phone. From Facebook, màá ṣàlàyé fún yín bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe máa ṣe òun lórí sí jù. Ọlọ́run fún wa ṣe níjọ́ yẹn. And I can tell you it will be a beautiful one. So, mo ṣì ń kí àwọn èèyàn lọ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ torí pé kíkí section láwàá àti parí program, my presentation. Ìyàwó Elizabeth mo kí ta ló tó wà nínú Alani Jamiu mo kí sà, mo kí Dizzy Man, thank you so much. £50 Dizzy Man, Nigeria nìyẹn máa ti ṣiṣẹ́, because àwọn tó ta gègé. I was meant to communicate with them yesterday, but after the program, it did not also be baby and I was tired. But my reach out pẹ̀lú wọn so that whatever they have to produce in Nigeria, at least send away and see wọn. Wàá lè lọ ṣe more stickers. I will reach out to Aluka because òun adé sọ ìtọ́pẹ́ ṣe, so alẹ́ ìwáyà owó yẹn fún wọn. Ó dẹ̀ bá wa fún Àṣàkẹ́ náà ní owó towards the laptop. Mo kí àrí ìyàwó Ifágbémilékè and the rest of them. Mo kí jẹ́ àwọn. So that is about that. Can we get the support of the UK and Bola Tinubu concerning the peaceful dissolution? The answer is yes. If we can't convince the West that Yoruba nation will transform the world by intellectual property rights. And that is the reason why Tasefe engaged the UK, because we have a new government in place. Kistama might be saying, because that day will be a day to present ourselves to Kistama and his government. That our Yoruba people, they are working on behalf of the king, but notwithstanding as well. So that is on that. Now, Edeka Mamula to the Facebook. Moki Mr. Peter Odetunde. Moki Yeshegoni for joining us as well. Lawrence Olalekan Moki. Baba mi Tajudeen sọ pé good evening Koiki ẹ kú iṣẹ́ ìlú Oòduà máa gbé wa o kò ní gbé àwọn ọ̀dàlẹ̀ láàrin wa. Then you went further to say the Yoruba exit Nigeria. Time to exit Nigeria. Cherry time yẹn ó wà important. The longer tá bá ń pẹ́ sínú Nigeria, the more ìyá mi Jọkẹ́ mò ń bọ̀ wá bá yín sọ̀rọ̀ because mo rí comment yín bọ̀ lẹ́mọ̀ pé tí bá tí mò ń bẹ́ tó yẹ lọ because ẹni fi bá mi sọ̀rọ̀ nọ́mbà mi ló wà lórí screen yẹn grandma tẹ bá ti mú ẹ lè pè direct or WhatsApp nọ́mbà tó sọ pé +44 yẹn or ẹni tó bá mọ the second number mi tó pẹ́rí pẹ̀lú 979 so bàbá mi Tajudeen sọ pé Koiki bá mi ṣàlàyé fáwọn ọmọ Yorùbá pé àti ẹni tó wà nílé àti ẹni tó wà níta àsìkò pé ká kúrò ní Nàìjíríà ìyẹn ò ní ká bá àwọn olóṣèlú wa jà a kàn sọ fún wọn pé ẹ endorse ẹ support ẹ kò ṣe pé kẹtù máa ní káwọn èèyàn wá lọ campaign fún Yorùbá election ní 2027. It is very important to put Nigeria after the exit because many people don't know Yoruba as a group of people. Very, very important. So let's go to some of the comments on the other timeline that we have because we're streaming on multiple places. Which account are we paying for the flyers? It has to be my own account. Details account here, I can show you on the screen if you need it, and that is it. And I can bring my camera in. That's a good thing when I use the software. Because I'm streaming without the software on the YouTube backup, and I'm also on the YouTube backup as well. So are you about to send 25? So we have 75 pounds just to make it happen. So I'm going to leave the account detail. Emma send Naira because Naira will be produced in Timosho. It has to be in the pounds sterling. So let's continue to appreciate those of you. Grandma Jọkẹ́ Bọ́dúnrin. Ìyá wa Rẹ̀mí Lẹ́kún Adélẹ́yẹ. Mo kí Grandma Alájà Adéyẹyè. Like I said, all these are our mothers. Lọ sọ pé à ń tọ́ àwọn ìyá yẹn ní kìnnìkan. But wọ́n ti wà wípé àwọn ìyá yẹn fúnra ara wọn ti tired of Nigeria. Wọ́n ti invest sílé, wọ́n ti náwó fún ara ilé, wọ́n ti náwó fún ara àta. Kò ní any result. Ayomi Kúndáméjì sọ pé many are not ready. They still want to build houses and keep doing twalisa and partying around. Kò jẹ́ kọ́mọ Yorùbá máa sọ pé mo káwọ́ sókè tẹ̀rí mi mọ́lẹ̀ torí kí ni. Irú mọ́tò ò ló lò Mercedes Benz. Sáré lu Lamborghini mi kò kàn fi sáré lọ Abẹ́òkúta tó bá dẹ̀ ti òkè. Mo rẹ̀ lè padà páàkì síbẹ̀ màá ní káwọn. Mọ̀ pé oríṣiríṣi iṣẹ́ ló wà nílùú. Yíyan sọ pé ya lo Maybach kò kàn sáré lò. Ẹ̀wọ̀n fáwọn kan máa exchange mọ́tò àwọn olówó sólówó. Wàá gba stimanti tiẹ̀ wàá lo Bugatti tiẹ̀. Weekend báyìí nísìnyí tẹ́ bá lọ sí àwọn àdúgbò kan ní gbogbo UK. Àwọn aṣẹ́ wa ní tẹ̀ mí mọ́lẹ̀ kẹ́ fún mi lówó. Wáì tó ṣe máa ní kọ́ tẹ̀ mọ́lẹ̀ tó bá yẹ pé ìwọ náà ní owó tiẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ tó lè ṣiṣẹ́ tọ́lọ̀ dẹ̀ bùkún gbogbo wa. Babátúndé Joseph Mokiyisa, ìyàwó Dúpẹ́ Agbọ́lání, they will not because they are all deep in the corruption and their pocket. Àyìndé Usman Mokiyin, Faith Mokiyin Wúrọ̀ọ́lá. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń bú wa, no problem. Mọ̀mísí mi ti ní kí n máa bú yín àfi tẹ́ni tó bá bú mi dáadáa. Màá gbọ́ ẹ̀yin náà. Jimoh A. Razak ní the White Lion, leave those people. Kò ló mẹ́ta ló ń ṣe wọ́n. Adébáyọ̀ sọ pé please don't forget that there is power in diplomacy. Keep your strength against your weakness. We know that there is power in diplomacy. Ó dà pé London dẹ̀ lẹ́wà ẹ̀ ṣe gan ni ṣé ń bọ̀ fún rally sir. Kò sẹ́ni tó fẹ́ diplomacy. Diplomacy is always good, but sometimes tó bá dá yín náà under diplomacy you can go the other way round. But we pray that Tinubu will listen. Ìyàwó Táíwò Kíkẹ́ Fásọmí Mokiyin, Anjorin Noah say more strength. Oluwole, the reason why we mention your name is just to recognize and appreciate you. Ẹ̀yin náà tẹ wà ń lé ẹ̀ ra data. Moki chairman Adetech, àwọn tí ọjọ́ iwájú tó bá fẹ́ máa kọ́ àwọn ilé ńláńlá àwọn èèyàn tẹ̀ mọ́. Ṣé rí àwọn ilé tẹ máa ń rí ní Dubai àwọn big houses yẹn? Ṣé mọ̀ pé àwa la máa ṣiṣẹ́ lórí ẹ̀ ni? But àwa la máa jẹ́ manager. Àwọn tó bá wá foreigners, àwọn ọlọ́mọ máa ro pọ́npọ́n. Mo kí bàbá wa Adéwùsì Owólabí. Mo kí grandma lẹ́ǹkan sí i. How do I chat with you? Ẹ bá ti mú nọ́mbà mi rí mi bá sọ̀rọ̀. Mustapha Nurede mo kí yín. Ìyàwó Zainab Akanbi Bakari mo kí ọgbọ́n ìtawà ní ìlú Germany. Yorùbá ni mí, Yorùbá ní ìran mi. Bàbá mi Simon Oyèdáre Adébísí mo kí yín sà. Yes, nígbà tí mo kọ́kọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ kò sí sound because mo ṣe yẹmọ̀ that's little seconds yẹn because mo ṣe join nǹkan kan together ni. Now I think we go to the back of YouTube channel méjì ló run but it seems that more people are on the one on the phone. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà lórí Instagram as well. Our quick Instagram should be back tomorrow because everyone take off one strike. So and I think Yoruba Way is live as well. Second, you know, like I said, you know, my boss system Yoruba Way. Moki gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí pé brother mi essay wọ́n ní I have paid £50 for the rally so at 375 so favour yín la mo kí yín wọ́n ní calm down please okay nígbà tí Fúlàní bá gbé gbogbo orí wa ẹ̀ ní ká calm down Michael eré ní èwo ló dájú ní Ghana jollof rice àti Nigerian jollof rice ní tó ń ṣèyàn nìyẹn oríṣiríṣi ìyá wa Mọ̀rúfà Ọláìtàn mo kí yín mo kí wọn medias lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí Banji Craig only keep walking you will get there brother definitely so I think we've done enough àwọn tó wà lórí Twitter space mo gbàgbé yín àwọn tó wà lórí Mixlr bodies of 3 children and a man is found in Surrey kí ló tún ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Surrey Ọlọ́run àṣàánú wa 3 children kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Surrey 3 children stab bouquet kábíyèsí Elédùmarè you know 3 children stab bouquet Surrey lè ti ṣẹlẹ̀ 3 children missing in Surrey. The 3 children who went missing after a day out at the theme park in Surrey have been found safe and well. They were all known to each other and the youngest children. So, where else to go? Mokente Walori, Mixlr, Akin Games, and the rest of you that have joined us. And I have to go now so that I can leave. I'm not anything, so I can clear up the bowl, you know, dining meeting moments of the studio loss on Vale. She gonna Yawa Babawa Tiadara for mommy, Spark Lizzy, or your own Kelani and Moki Bubo new, like you conceal Kunibaje. Okay, at £300, so Yawa. Fagba Milani, I want to send 25. So that means I can confirm that we have the full £100 with us. Let me see. Okay, I think there's a notification here. Again, sorry, PayPal Milati do that. Maybe I can make the payment even while we're here, but we've got to make sure we went to the card before I initiate the payment. Iṣẹ́ tẹ́ bá rán wa lórí platform. So I'm just logging to the PayPal. Yeah, so that has come through from Ayuba, brother Midada. Okay, so at least got the shit the first 100. So let's send this. Go. All right. Well, enter our lorry Twitter. The only thing is, okay, what I'll do is, let me say something. Since I guess all the money is in there, you know, I need change it. So let me do something. I can make the payment now, and then Toba law, at least, I get me, everything that fair. What to work out, so let's attempt it. Since that you need £100. So let me check out and see. Let's check out and see. Because sometimes I gotta be very careful with the screen, you know. Yeah, my screen is not coming to you. I don't know what's your background, Nikuro. So you're saying this is my original background. That recording background. So this is my own original background. Screen strength. Because sometimes, you know, when I see your comment, your message, your feedback, you know, people are bitter, but sometimes when you will not calm down. Mr. Koike, please open the Ruba cash today. Money Ruba, even one Ruba, money Ruba. Even on the Ruba account. So let's finish this and see. Okay, let me do this because anyway, I want to buy my account details on the one screen. So let's do this. All right, so I believe people that have made the payment have made it through. All right, we can get this out of the way. At least, ọ̀sán yìí lásán náà lèmi náà ṣe ro pé bàbá dẹ̀ ṣe báyìí, it will go a long way because the time is no longer there for us again. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, I will not. Okay, number. I can confirm that the payment has been done, but I'm going to be careful. I don't want to show you too much, but I can show you that we've just made a payment. So for a few seconds, because then when I'm about to show, I will not be able to take it out from the live stream. So what I'm going to show you now is that we have just made the payment as initiated by you all. How do I say thank you? For believing in this platform and for agree that the platform is not official. I don't know what so I'm going for many few seconds to adjust things around. Then I can show us that we have done exactly what you want. So within the queue, by the middle of the week, working Perara is one of the fastest printings. They work 24/7. Machine de la gate. So delivery, deliver everything. So it will be here. And when we're doing our program, we can prove it that we have received it as well. At least it's been Saturday last year. So I will count down how many days we must be late. Delivery. Okay, so that is that. Each time we come out and say we need your support. So we'll check one more time. Now that has been paid, as you can see on the screen. It's coming up to us in a minute. All I can say is thank you so much for giving us the first 20,000 flyers that will be delivered to us. You are made it to happen. Expect the delivery, okay, one on the 10th. So that's 10 days from now. So that means that's if we still want to do more. Because that's about 10 days. So it's on its way. That's all I can say. That is the power of what we can do on this platform. And I'm sure we will do more. I have to take that out because I don't want to go and do mistake and bring anything up again. I think I've got to be very careful, especially, it could bring up things that I don't want it to bring. Advert then when I come back, we will be doing more.
Akíkanjú obìnrin adúláwọ̀ àgbáyé jẹ́ ẹgbẹ́ àṣà ìdálẹ̀ Yorùbá pẹ̀lú àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ kan káàkiri àgbáyé láti gbogbo ilẹ̀ Áfíríkà títí dé Europe, Asia, Amẹ́ríkà, Gúúsù Amẹ́ríkà, Australia àti Canada. Àánú àti àfojúsùn wa ní ìmúgbòòrò èdè àti ìmúgbòòrò àṣà ti Yorùbá látòkè délẹ̀ ní gbogbogbò. A máa ń ṣe ọjọ́ àṣà ìdálẹ̀ àti àṣà Yorùbá tí a pè àkọlé rẹ̀ ní ọjọ́ àdìrẹ àdìrẹ́dẹ́. Ọjọ́ àdìrẹ yìí ó jẹ́ ọjọ́ kan láti ṣe àfihàn ní kíkún àṣà wa bó ti lẹ́wà àti bó ṣe lọ́rọ̀ nígbà gbogbo nínú oúnjẹ, ijó, ìmúra, orin kíkọ àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ àfihàn yìí máa ń wáyé lọ́dọọdún tí àtẹ̀jáde wúndíá náà wáyé ní ìlú Ìbàdàn ìbílẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ní oṣù kẹwàá ọdún 2023. Ó sì jẹ́ àṣeyọrí ńlá.
Àwọn tó wà bẹ́ẹ̀ ní ọdún tó kọjá, àwọn ni wọ́n lè sọ.
Ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun ni yóò gbàlejò ọjọ́ àdìrẹ tiwantiwa 2024. Èyí yóò wáyé ní ọjọ́ Sátidé ọjọ́ kẹsàn-án oṣù kọkànlá ọdún tí a wà nínú èyí ní gbọ̀ngàn Afenifere Gardens Onis Palace ẹnu ọwá Ilé Ifẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun State.
Tẹ́lẹ̀ ìlú wà pàtàkì wá ń so gbogbo ẹ̀yin onílé iṣẹ́ ńláńlá kẹ́ ẹ máa bọ̀ kẹ́ ẹ wá darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ká fi tiwa ká fi gbé tiyín lárugẹ kẹ́ ẹ̀yin náà kẹ́ fi tiyín kẹ́ fi gbé tiwa lárugẹ.
Fún wa láti gbé àṣà ọmọ Yorùbá tiwantiwa lárugẹ nípa ti ìpàtẹ àti ìpolówó ọjà yín, ẹ jọ̀wọ́ ẹ pè àwọn ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ wa wọ̀nyí. Fún sísanwó ìpàtẹ àti ìpolówó ọjà yín, a lè sanwó sí ilé ìfowópamọ́ wa. Àṣà ọmọ Yorùbá tiwantiwa Wema Bank.
Àdìrẹ tiwantiwa èyí tó ń bọ̀ lọ́nà tí a ti ṣe irú ẹ̀ rí ní ìlú Ìbàdàn tí a tún fẹ́ ṣe ní ìlú Ọ̀ṣun State. Kí Ọlọ́run kó wà pẹ̀lú wa o. Orúkọ mi ni Ìyáàfin Modúpẹ́ Ọlá Ẹ̀yìbọ̀ tí mo jẹ́ welfare officer.
Fún ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ àlàyé ẹ tún lè kàn sí wa lórí àtẹ̀jíṣẹ́ wa lórí afẹ́fẹ́ ayélujára àṣà ọmọ Yorùbá tiwantiwa @gmail.com.
Mo fi àsìkò yìí kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá jákèjádò àgbáyé níbikíbi tí a bá wà pé a kú àkókò yìí o. Mo fi àsìkò yìí dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run àti gbogbo àwa tá a kópa nínú àdìrẹ tiwantiwa dé.
A fi ètò àdìrẹ tiwantiwa dé lélẹ̀ ní èyí tí a bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí í ṣe ní àti ọdún tó kọjá nílùú Ìbàdàn.
Ní Àdámàsìgbà mo dẹ̀ tún fi àsìkò yìí pé gbogbo wa pé ká múra kájọ sowọ́pọ̀.
Ní ọdún 2024 ìyá wa ń gbé lọ sí ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun.
Lágbára Ọlọ́run ìṣe àṣà ilẹ̀ Yorùbá kò ní bàjẹ́ o.
Àdìrẹ tiwantiwa 2024 wá dùn á lóyún.
Abáwa ṣe.
Akíkanjú obìnrin adúláwọ̀ ìfẹ́ adúláwọ̀ ló jẹ ìlú Modúpẹ́ Ọlá Àṣírí.
Orúkọ mi ò yí padà o. Èmi ni Ìfẹ́olúwa Ìdòwú tí mo jẹ́ organizing secretary.
Orúkọ mi ni Yẹmí Akíndélé.
Orísun wa ò gbọdọ̀ gbẹ odò tó bá gbẹ orísun rẹ̀ ni yóò gbẹ o.
Àwọn tájọ́ ń ṣe Yorùbá Nation ni wọ́n ń ṣe program yẹn o, so and anything tó bá ti involve culture, even our bit of religion, be rest assured that Koiki Media are fully ready on the ground. So we will be following them, in November. It will be like a month after Tabati Pari October rally. So I'm sure other activities will kick back. Anytime that we I'm sure it will kickstart at the appropriate time. Ẹ jẹ́ káwọn tó ń tó ètò kó ṣàlàyé fún wa. Ẹ má ẹ̀ka kánjú ìbò ṣe yẹ lọ. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ṣàǹfààní fún wa pé ká lè, ká ṣe flyer ẹ̀ nírọ̀lẹ́ yìí. And I think, excuse me, ẹ ṣe pé a dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín gan. Thank you so much. Ẹ̀gbọ́n wa tó fún wa ní £50, màmá wa tó fún wa ní 25, and also all the contributors. Mọ́mí wa tán ní Koiki ò ṣó àkáǹtì ẹ̀ mọ́ èmi náà ṣì máa dá sí i. If we raise the next £100, I will be making the payment again, and I might have the 40,000 ready. Kò bá jẹ́ ẹ̀mẹ́ta la rí 300, we will do it. And then if there's another thing that I think we should do, I will let us know. This is just to support our committee to need pressure already. There's a lot of things they want to do, and I don't want to go to them and say, I need a vote, when we can say thank you so much to those of you that are helping us. And the more we raise, the more we can also support them as well. But when they support, voluntarily, either to me to support or to the rally. Let me first show you the flyer of the rally one more time, Katomalo. So you can do that voluntarily. I've account details to rally because account details is a fellow doom. But the rally that we're talking about, in case step by take go. The dinner is the one on the 11th of Friday, Thursday morning. Thursday. This is now Friday. Make sure anyway, when there are tickets, I will be communicating before the day. Gbogbo àwọn tó ti ra ticket, I have about over close to almost 20 people listening. Lọ ti ra ticket látọ̀dọ̀ tèmi and others as well. Wọ́n ní aṣọ fún rally, 2 location lọ ti máa pick it. East Street Market, wọ́n máa fún yín ní ibi tá a ti lò tẹ́lẹ̀ nígbà tá à ń pín aṣọ tá a fi lọ ṣe South Africa football yẹn, olórí pé àwọn yẹn mẹ́sàn-án ọ̀. So ìyẹn náà àti Peckham, alájà Queen ara máa sọ location yẹn fún mi, ti Peckham yẹn àti number. So ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá fẹ́ kọ́ send ẹ̀ sí yín, ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá ń bọ̀ ní dinner tẹ́tí ra aṣọ ẹgbàá tí yín ní dinner ẹ̀ kọ́ máa mú lọ́lé ni láti lè máa wọ̀. Ẹ lè wọ̀ nǹkan sínú ẹ̀, ìyẹn á kàn jẹ́ pullover lókè. Let me show that again. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń wò wá lórí screen. Gbogbo ẹ̀ náà láti show tẹ́lẹ̀, but this is what it looks like. Ìyẹn aṣọ yẹn. So you can have something inside. Ẹ kàn wọ̀ ilé say okay. So ẹ̀ níní láti náà gbé jacket. So this is already padded. Ó jọ something similar sí nǹkan tèmi náà máa ń wọ̀ yìí. But yàtọ̀ kan ní pé zip lòun. Eléyìí nísìn America ló ti send ẹ̀ sí àwọn ọmọlúwàbí apparel. You know, America ni iléeṣẹ́ yẹn wà. And everything they are doing is also to represent the Yoruba nation. So grammar, èyí tẹ́ ẹ ṣe ní Koiki account wo la fẹ́ fi support whatever you're talking about. Tide account, òun nìyẹn lókè. Sort code account number. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ fẹ́ fún wa náírà, it is there, and PayPal. Mo kí Àyùbá, mo kí gbogbo àwọn. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ti náwó sí wa náà ní gbogbo ìgbà, a dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín, kò ní tán níbẹ̀. And now it is just saying good night. We will kickstart a new topic after tá a bá parí èyí tá à ń bá bọ̀. À ń lọ sí week 16 èyí tí bàbá Akintoye gbé lé mi lọ́wọ́. So week 16, I don't know what it's gonna be. Ẹ jẹ́ kí n fún yín ní snip view topic yẹn after tọ̀la bá ti tán. Week 16 will be mo like eléyìí. Our country shall be a land of enterprise and the plentiful jobs. That is what we're going to be talking about from Monday next week, like we're along. And tomorrow is a new month, which is a new first Sunday. So week 16, but week 15 here, we shall evolve the best immigration policy. So week 16, our country, Tategbayi, what is share Baba Golo ti share? I think it's about 87 investment. Hey, imagine how many investment ni kò bá ti jẹ́ tó bá jẹ́ pé wọ́n dá gbogbo ẹ̀rọ. So tẹ́ bá lọ wo fídíò tí mo ṣe ní store láàárọ̀ ẹ̀, different product lárákùnrin ẹ̀ wá rà, that means pé different company ló ń produce ẹ̀. Chocolate ni, beer ni, drink ni, èyí tèmi náà lọ rà. Mo ra omi, mo ra apple juice, mo ra date, mo fi wọ̀nyí nínú basket tèmi náà. So the more we produce, the more the country will be strong. Nigeria refused to produce, and that means people are struggling. And on that note, I think we finished early. Everybody can do some other things as well. And wherever you are, má gbàgbé pé ìran ẹ̀ òun ni à ń pariwo lé lórí. Ìwọ náà dá sí, èyí náà dá sí. Ẹ má fi dídá bàbá Akintoye àti olóyè Ìgbòho nìkan àti àwọn tá à ń campaign. Àdúrà lẹ bá lè ṣe ni ẹ fi ràn wá lọ́wọ́. Owó ni ẹ fi ràn wá lọ́wọ́. But one thing is, àwa la ni síyá àgbẹ̀yìn. Mo kí ẹ brother mi Yẹmí Fátókè. Thank you so much. Good night from here. And the anthem will kick in, and that will bring the show to the end. After 1 hour, after dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo yín, after 3 hours, after the program. Go back and watch it again. Eritrea and Ethiopia is something that Tinubu can do. Tọ́lọ́run bá fún ṣe pé kó ṣe, tó bá ṣe, ó máa fi tẹ́ gbogbo wa lọ́rùn náà ni. Tó bá dẹ̀ ṣe, we will still have no choice than to exit Nigeria at the appropriate time. Good night from here. My name is Olami Koiki, where you've been watching, listening, and contributing your own quota. History will remember every single one of us, regardless of whether you participate or not.